I now call the Thursday, January 8th, regular school board meeting for Forest Lake Area Schools to order. Will you please join us while we recite the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Member Clerk, will you please take the roll call of attendance?
Sure. Member Corcoran? Here. Member Tyson?
Here.
Member Castle?
Here.
Member Antonsen is here. Member Rebbeline?
Here.
And Member Christensen.
Here.
Everybody's here.
All right, all members here. I entertain a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion carries. Brings us to the election of school board officers. Pretty standard fare here. I'll ask for nominations for each position. I'll ask for a nomination 3 times. If we have a single nomination for the officer, that's just an appointment right there. If we have multiples, we'll vote on it. If we end up in a tie situation per the legal guidance we've received, assuming the current officer is interested in the position, that position would just carry forward. Are there any questions on how that process will work? All right, seeing none, I would entertain any nominations for board president.
I nominate Julie Corcoran for board president.
All right, Member Corcoran, would you accept the nomination for board president?
I will.
Okay. Any other nominations? Member Castle?
I nominate Kurt Rebbeline.
All right, I will accept the nomination for board president. Okay, do we have any other nominations? Do we have any other nominations? Do we have any other nominations? All right. We will close the nominations. We'll simply just do a, do you want to do a raise of hand or do you want to go one at a time? I can do either way.
Voice vote, one at a time.
Voice vote one at a time, that's fine with me. So when I call your name, just indicate the member you will vote for, and we will go from there and see how it falls. We'll start with Member Tyson.
Member Corcoran.
All right, Member Castle.
Member Rebbeline.
Member Antonsen.
Member Rebbeline.
Member Corcoran.
Member Corcoran.
Member Christensen.
Member Corcoran.
All right, and Member Rebbeline votes for Member Rebbeline, which means we do not have a change in that position. So at this point, we'll open nominations for the vice president. The same
Nominate
process.
Julie Corcoran for vice chair. Sorry.
Okay. I was going to say the same process will flow. Member Tyson, you've already nominated Member Corcoran. I was going to do the same. So I'll just ask, are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? All right. We will close that. Vote is not necessary since we just had one single nomination for vice president, which will bring us to clerk. Same process. I will take nominations for clerk.
I nominate Member Tyson for clerk.
All right, Member Tyson, would you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do.
All right. Do we have any other nominations?
I nominate Member Antonsen.
Member Antonsen, would you accept the nomination?
I will.
All right. Do we have any other nominations? Do we have any other nominations? Do we have any other nominations? All right. And we'll close the nominations for clerk. We'll do this the exact same way. This time I think we'll start on the other side of the table. Member Christensen.
Member Tyson.
Member Corcoran.
Member Tyson.
Member Antonsen.
Member Antonsen.
Member Castle.
Member Antonsen.
Member Tyson.
Member Tyson.
All right, Member Rebbeline votes for Member Antonsen. Member Antonsen being our current clerk, that means we do not have a change there. I'll open nominations for treasurer. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Member Christensen for treasurer.
Member Christensen, will you accept the nomination for treasurer?
Yes.
Okay, do we have any other nominations? Member Antonsen.
I nominate Member Castle for treasurer.
Okay, Member Castle, would you accept the nomination?
Yes.
All right.
And can I
Yes.
speak to the nominations?
Sure, as soon as we close them, if
Okay.
you'd like to,
Okay.
we certainly can. Do we have any other nominations? Do we have any other nominations? Do we have any other nominations? All right, we will close that. Member Corcoran?
Okay, so upon researching MSBA statute, the treasurer needs, the school board member training the school member shall receive training in school finance and management developed in consultant with Minnesota State Board Association, consistent with section 127A.19. And it says it shall, okay, so shall, it says you shall receive training, and it's used to express what is inevitable or seems likely to happen in the near future. Currently, Member Castle has not attended any MSBA trainings, which I believe is kind of in conflict with what the statute states about must. And that is a problem for me as an accountant and for our district. I believe having someone that has training, like Member Christensen has training, is a better advocate for that position. So I just want to state that on the record, that having someone in that position that truly understands it is beneficial for our district.
Okay, thank you, Member Corcoran. Member Tyson?
I just also want to add, along with 127A.19, that the school finance gives a new board member like Mr. Castle, who has been our treasurer, 180 days with many training opportunities that are required by law through MSBA. So I'm just curious, Member Castle, have you not been able to attend the required training?
I have not as of yet. I want to take some on as can-do basis as opposed to their seminars that they have. And you don't have to take it from MSBA. You can take training from other places.
Okay, and do you know what place you're going to be taking that at?
I do not know.
Okay. So I just want to reiterate that I'm not comfortable. I think that trainings that are required, they're there for a reason. I think that's how districts have success in their finances, is by having a treasurer in place that has had their school finance training. So I think you should take it. I think it's a really good idea if you want to continue to be treasurer.
I'll be taking training.
All right, any other discussion here? I would just add, for public disclosure purposes, all board members, as part of our onboarding, do receive pretty extensive training, including training in finance from our director of finance here. So it's not as
Totally
if
different.
Member Castle's going in blind. But if we don't have any other discussion, we'll start with Member Tyson.
Member Christensen.
All right, Member Castle?
Member Castle.
Member Antonsen?
Member Castle.
Member Corcoran?
Member Christensen?
Member Christensen?
Member Christensen.
All right, Member Rebline votes for Member Castle, him being our current treasurer. That will move forward. I believe that leaves us with the exact same officers in place that we've had last year, which brings us to scheduled and unscheduled visitors. Myself and Member Corcoran were there this evening. Member Corcoran, would you like to report on that?
Well, we only had a couple people, and they were just here for listening, and we just had a lively conversation about a lot of different things, not a lot about anything school-related really, but just kind of world at large questions about the bigger picture of life, and it was entertaining. So, yeah, and that's all I can say about that.
Yeah, I would concur with that report.
Yeah.
It was, in my entire time on the school board, it was probably the most laid-back listening session I've ever been to. We covered a vast array of topics, and none of them were really relevant to Forest Lake area schools at all, so there's really nothing to report on to the board.
Yep, I agree.
So that will bring us to student achievement. We'll go straight into the student report. National Honor Society, Principal Caldwell.
Member President, rest of the school board, always an honor to bring our student groups with us tonight is our National Honor Society reps led by Mrs. Kroska and Ms. Brooke Clark. Brooke is in her first year helping Ms. Kroska. Each year they do phenomenal things for this district, so you are in for a great presentation, and this is the cream of the crop of Forest Lake Area High School. So with that, I'll hand it over to Ms. Kroska.
Good evening, Dr. Massey and School Board.
You can move it and pull it.
The mic will pick up
Yeah.
from there. You're fine.
Yeah, I think you'll be
you're
fine.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's designed to pick up from
okay,
afar.
perfect.
Yeah.
So this is my 5th year helping out with National Honor Society. We're just about to start our application process for next year. And what gets those students into NHS is they fill out an application every year, and we are looking for students who not just have great academics, but we are looking for examples of scholarship, leadership, service, and character within the school. Currently, we have 48 active members, and we have volunteered already through just our first semester 1,500 hours of service through 524 different activities. Last year, I challenged NHS with getting out in the elementary schools more, and you'll kind of see that as Ms. Clark will talk about the volunteer awards that we awarded last year. This year, I challenged NHS to focus more on tutoring within the high school, and Owen, one of our officers, will go through that.
Hi, I'm Ms. Clark. Like Mr. Caldwell said, this is my first year advising NHS, and it's been a great experience. I'm really excited to continue to do this. So, like Ms. Kroska was saying, we do a lot of volunteering. So our junior members are required to do 40 hours per semester, and then 50 hours for seniors. And then they also have an opportunity if they want to kind of go above and beyond. If they earn over 100 hours, they earn an ambassador award for service and are recognized at our induction night. So last year we awarded 16 members, which was 33% of the group, with a National Merit Ambassador Award. So we're excited to see that continue this year. And then the officers will talk a little bit more about what those volunteer opportunities look like.
Hi, I'm Lucinda Rao, and I'm an officer this year. So I'll be going through the requirements throughout the year for all members of NHS. First, we have our monthly meetings where we just meet with the members and kind of go through what we'll be doing the next month, like our required activities, and then also just kind of checking in with them on where they're at with their hours. Next, we have tutoring, which Owen is going to be talking more about, but all NHS members are required to tutor other high school students throughout the year, and we're all required to do an extra session during finals week just to make sure that everyone feels prepared going into finals. The other thing, like we talked about, we've been stressing elementary school volunteering. All members are required to do, I think, 2 events every semester at an elementary school, and just in October and November we did get 260 hours just at our elementary schools, so it's really helping out with that. And then we're also required to do concessions for our different sporting events throughout the year, and then we use all the money that we get from concessions to help fund the Rangers Helping Rangers organization.
So as mentioned before by Kroska and Lucinda, we have tried to expand tutoring this year and have so successfully. We have began a program, drop-in tutoring, to kind of help for multiple reasons. People who are a little bit more shy to ask for tutoring help, and for some people who may need help on less of a regular basis. So our drop-in tutoring is every Wednesday after school, and this is, like Lucinda said, increased during the week of finals, the week of finals. It is required that all NHS members participate at least twice. We encourage 1 time per semester, and as seen already, that people are helping out more and more. And then so far we've had an average of 4.3 tutors per session over the first 10 weeks of the school year. We have a nice sign-up sheet that students can sign up through, and we've had great success, especially being through Mrs. Penn has a study group session that happens the same day. So we not only have tutors there, but we have people who are studying together, studying groups that are very, very beneficial for people to get different help for different things, all on every Wednesday after school. And then one-on-one tutoring is something that we are continuing and hoping to continue to advertise and expand. Students communicate with their dean regarding need for regular tutoring, and then those deans will reach out to either me or Mrs. Kroska so we can find an appropriate student based on what class they need help with. At the beginning of the school year for NHS, we have each student fill out a form of the classes they would be comfortable tutoring for, and we use that to help out find the correct students for in each scenario. So yeah, we're continuing to change how we run tutoring to make it more accessible and adaptable as possible for each student. This year was drop-in tutoring, the addition of that, which I believe has worked quite well. And then NHS has the tools to continue these improvements as long as the opportunity for free tutors is well communicated between teachers, students, and parents. So as long as we keep communicating this accessibility, the fact that it's free, any student, we're happy to help any student with any subject. We have believe we've mentioned, 48 students. We have a large number of students, therefore there's a likely chance that there's been one who's taken every class in the school. That's our goal, is to be able to help every student whenever possible. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Layla Nolan, and I am one of 2 presidents for the NHS this year. I'm going to talk about the monthly activities that we're required to do as NHS members every single year. So October, we always have our trick or canning, which is when we, while trick-or-treating, go around the neighborhood and ask for non-perishable goods. This year, unfortunately, we could not do it on Halloween because our section's football game was that Friday, and that one's always a good time. We did not get a weight count for our food this year, unfortunately. November, we have turkey bingos at the elementary school. We were going to have Feed My Starving Children in November. Unfortunately, we had to cancel that event, so we really leaned into volunteering at the elementary schools, especially through bingo, art fairs, a lot of other things. December, we all came together at the school here as a group. We made cards for people at the nursing homes, and we ate snacks. We did coloring pages. It was a good time. January was when we rescheduled Feed My Starving Children. We will be doing that towards the end of the month. February, we are making tie blankets for the pet shelters. I believe Owen volunteers or works at one here, and so he helps provide the fabric, and we provide the handwork. March, we sell our suckers. Normally we would do this in November, but in order to not overlap with the student council, we moved it to March, and we were going to use that money from the sucker sales to put together military care packages, which we will do in April. We will take all the money that we earned from the sales and put them into making the care packages. And then in May, we have our mental health day with the elementary schools. That is currently, all of the activities that we're going to do for mental health day are in planning right now. And it consists of us going to all of the elementary schools and teaching all the kids from all the different grades, like age-appropriate lessons. We do crafts. It's definitely one of the favorite NHS events throughout the year. And then, of course, at the beginning of May, we have our induction and awards night, which is where all of the new members that got accepted get to be recognized on stage, and all of the previous members who have, like previously mentioned, earned those 100 hours get their awards. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
I was going to ask the same. Member Anderson.
So when you do the May mental health day at the elementaries, is this like an all-day thing? Do you guys all split up in groups of you go to each elementary and everybody picks a group? How does that work out?
Yeah, so basically we have members sign up if they're available to do mental health day or not.
Okay.
And then they are split into groups about which elementary school they go to. Generally, they go to the elementary school that they did go to because they're a little more familiar with it.
That's nice.
And so they'll go to the the elementary school. They'll be assigned to a few specific grades to go through and teach a different lesson depending on which grade it is, because obviously a 6th grader is more able to learn about different topics than a kindergartner.
Yes.
And so we just go throughout the school spreading some positivity and hopefully teaching them some good lessons, and then we're all back to the school around 2:30 to end up the day.
Okay. So it's sort of most of the day, though.
Yeah,
You're there. Okay.
it is the entire day.
And then my other question was, you talked about the high school, the tutoring, the drop-in tutoring. Are people regularly tutoring, or do you all just take turns dropping in?
So yeah, we're all required to participate in the drop-in tutoring.
Yeah.
One-on-one tutoring it just depends on what time of the year people are like. At the very beginning of the year, I was kind of picking up all of them because they were all math-based. But if if there is a subject that I am not as interested or not as knowledgeable in,
Yeah.
I will distribute it to other people who are
Yeah.
interested in. But it's a little bit more accessible and easier for people to do the drop-in tutoring since it's not a weekly commitment like
Yes.
the one-on-one was.
And do you find that it's picking up? Like, are
Um,
kids getting the word from the dean and then, is it 9th through 12th grade too?
It's,
Is-
yes, so
Okay,
it's all
okay.
ages, and I have seen it pick up. Especially, I got to give credit to Mrs. Penn. She's doing her study groups
Okay.
that bring more kids in. When they have questions, they can go to the tutors who are already there.
Yeah,
And
okay.
so we have kids from AP US History in there, AP Chem. I've seen AP Calc. I've
Okay.
seen all sorts of various classes where they're already working together on work, and then they have a bunch of people who've taken those classes to ask for help.
That's great. Thank you guys for
Yeah.
everybody.
I'm going to piggyback on that question really quick because it's about tutoring, but is there any opportunity to work with middle school at all?
Not right now. Not right now. Not at the moment.
Too busy.
Not. Hopefully, we can add that sometime in the
That
future.
would be great.
Yeah.
Member Christensen.
I was just going to add, when you said you're visiting the elementary schools, I worked at Scandia Elementary, and the kids just love it when the big kids come. And also on that mental health day, a lot of times I saw the students would come and have lunch at different times with the kids that were in there, and that was a really big deal. So I think branching out and getting into the elementary schools is really important, because then they can see, that's something that I could do as I get older. These kids are rangers too. So I just think that's really great. And the tutoring is a really wonderful idea too. That was great that your advisor encouraged you to expand into that area. So thank you for all the work you're doing.
Member Tyson.
I just want to add, when is the induction program? I do like to attend that. Do we know in May the date yet?
I have it in my calendar, but I have my phone out in the.
You could send it out
Okay,
when
yeah.
whenever you get a chance, because
Okay.
that's a really fun event to come and celebrate all your work throughout the year. And I also want to add that thank you for expanding the tutoring. I think there's nothing more valuable than getting tutoring from your peers. It's a level of comfortability. I think it just sets people up for success. You get to do it with your peer, and that's great. There's that mutual respect, and you get that work done together. It's just a gift. And then I remember back in the day that the NHS were like angels. When we had carnivals, we had art and academic fairs. Your group coming in and being role models and helping with whatever you can do is so valuable and helps the PTOs and the families and everything. So thank you. That's a very expanded schedule, so keeps you guys busy, I bet.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all you do.
Yes.
Member Castle.
I'm interested in, so you spend a lot of time at these other schools, and some of it is during the school day, correct? So can you, like if you're teaching math in your tutoring, can that count as your math class that you're taking? Or do you have to use all of your free periods, or how does that work?
So wait, so are you talking about the tutoring, or are you talking about, we
Well,
go
just-
to the elementary school?
Just any time that you're at another school
Yep.
during the school day,
Yep,
you're either missing class.
Yep.
Or can it count towards a class?
No, we're expected to, one of the things is that because we are some of the top academic performers in the school, it is expected that if we attend some of these events during the school day, that we will set aside time to adequately catch up with our work, or advocate for ourselves and communicate with our teachers that we're going to be gone a specific day, and so we will need a little bit of time to catch up.
So you can hand in your assignments
Yes.
and not be in the classroom?
yes,
Yes.
Yes.
exactly.
Mental Health Day is really the only big event that we're gone the entire day. Otherwise, there may be like 2 or 3 events that have kids leaving during the school day to go to the other elementary schools. It's mostly Mental Health Day though, and so student council's there. So the teachers are pretty used to us being gone that day.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yep.
Member Corcoran.
I was just going to say that, Member Tyson, what she said, all the volunteer hours that you guys have, plus trying to balance sports and, and your academics, and, I mean, it's an impressive, I mean, it really adds to your resume for your future, so. But, I mean, when you work on the tutoring, do you have to, like, there's so many hours you have to do for the tutoring for each thing, or you, like,
No, so
like
it's just,
requirements,
so
or-
basically, yeah, after school on Wednesday, it's
Yeah.
1 hour long, and we
Okay.
just require students to do it twice. So it's
Okay.
not overall a big commitment, but people have
Okay.
learned to love it, and that's why we average 4.3 students per session. Is because
Wow.
students kind of just, once they do it once, they just keep doing it again.
Okay.
Because it's very convenient, it's right after school,
Okay,
and
nice.
it's just something that students can get into more routine, like, so they can get their hours up to the either 40 or 50 requirement.
Yeah, so is it hard to get your hours in? I mean, is that something like that you struggle with? I mean, but you have to say no to things occasionally, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's absolutely times, but there are a lot of opportunities
Okay.
that are offered, and some of like the elementary school events, those can be 4 or 5 hours in the afternoon.
okay.
When you do 2, 3 of those, that's 15 hours. I mean, that just adds up over time.
Right.
And then especially, there's a lot of people who do these volunteer events that they really love to do. So it's like, I dog walk, like she said, I'm at the Humane Society a bit. There's people who do Feed My Starving Children quite a bit. There's people who are volunteering at their church. I mean, there's so many ways where people can just do it weekly, and throughout the course of the school year, 1 hour a week, it just adds up so fast where you
So you
next
can
thing you
get
know,
over
you're at 100 hours and you just like skipped right through that 50 mark.
Yeah.
That's
So
wonderful.
that it's really not a problem, and there's always opportunities
Okay.
if you're looking for hours last second too. so.
Okay, well, thank you, you guys are quite the role models, and I'm really glad you're building this relationship with the other students too that need the tutoring help. So that's
Yeah.
really important, but thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, do we have any other questions or comments? All right, thank you so much for coming in, and thank you for all the
Thank
work
you,
you've
guys.
done.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Thank you.
All right, we have a tough act to follow here, but Principal Mattson from Linwood.
That is a tough act to follow. Thank you, Dr. Massey and Board Rebeline and the rest of our school board. As you know, this is the highlight for me every year to come and just help Linwood shine. And so always I'm looking at ways to cut back on the amount of time that I love to share about Linwood. But I'm going to take a little bit of a different spin this year, and I'm excited about it. So, I just want you to know the forest is going well and doing fine, and we're continuing to grow and expand. Our teachers are going out there weekly now. So, I'm excited to see that this is my 6th year at Linwood, and we've really worked our way up. And I think it makes for a happier and more positive community. So the school forest is very well visited. So what I want to go over with you today is a little bit about who Linwood is, who we are as a core, and then I want to share a little bit about our school improvement plan. Sometimes in the education world, we call it SIP. It's our SIP for short. I'll talk about our goals and our strategies, and then I really am excited to share with you about what a practice profile is and how we're using that at Linwood in connection to our school improvement plan. I was raised with a parent that was a leader, and one thing that my dad always told me is when you are building something, you need to be grounded in the vision, the mission, and the goals. And that's something I've learned all through education, but I've found it to be true as I lead Linwood. We always connect ourselves to the district vision. So excellence for every student every day. That is a huge task. Then we as a staff come together and we create this, and each August during workshop week, we revisit and revote because we need to make sure that all of the staff and families at Linwood buy into who we are. So our current purpose is to learn and grow through connections with each other and nature. The other thing we really have to be careful about is making sure that we have core values and that those core values represent who we are. And so you can see up there our 4 core values. Ironically, when we reflected on this, not this fall, but the fall of 2024, we found that we didn't have enough about learning in there. So as a staff, we're like, well, of course learning, but we need to make sure that our stakeholders and our families are aware that learning is critical to what we do. So we added on number 4, where it talks about that that's the core to who we are there. That we're learning not just in the classroom, but in the forest and in the hallways and everywhere we go. And if you don't know this about me, when I went to Linwood, I usually do a theme every year, and one of the themes just caught fire, and it continues to be our motto, which is, there's no place like Linwood. And I believe in that, and I feel that to be true. And I know that some other schools might not feel the same way, but I've worked in many, many schools. Forest Lake is very special, but Linwood, the community and the school, is also a very special place. So let's dig into my school improvement plan. This is not something I build on my own, and I'm very thankful for that. Our district provides time for us to gather in August with staff from our building at the high school, and we work together to build our school improvement plan. We spend the morning of that day with staff that we've invited to come looking at data from the previous year. Then we spend the afternoon taking that data and determining, so what do we still need to work on? What priorities do we still need to have in place? And from that work, we develop our strategies and goals. Our literacy school improvement goal is all around how our students do on an assessment. Previously, I think we did the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessment a lot, and we have really moved away from the MCA, and we're working with FastBridge at this time. The reason for that is many reasons, but the data that we need to have at the end of the year in the spring is always there and set, and MCAs really don't kick off until like middle of August. And even though we might have preliminary data, it's nice to know that FAST is the data, and it's true to what our students know. It is always hard for me to look at this goal and say that we say 65% of our students are going to grow, because I want to say 100% of our students should be growing. But we try to make sure that we're looking at where our students are, and that kind of guides us to the 65%. We focus on the growth. What I've found is I may have a student that is in 4th grade that comes in reading at a 2nd grade level. If I am trying to have a goal as a school, we miss out on some of those kids if we don't look at their growth. When you're looking at growth, every child in a school will make growth. The reason we have 65% is because it doesn't mean 65% will make growth. It means 65% of them will meet their projected growth as stated by FastBridge, which is the assessment. FastBridge is an amazing tool. It looks at one student, looks at the history of what they've done and where they are now and where they need to be. And so to have them set the projection, that is super helpful. So I just want to make sure that that's clear, that we're really hoping that 65% of our kids can meet that projected goal of growth. How do we do this? So we think about strategies. We have priority standard focuses for every unit in benchmark assessment. So when I gather with grade level teams each month at a data meeting, we look at each benchmark advanced unit that's coming up, and we figure out which standard is heavily tested and covered in this unit, and that is our focus for that unit. Do we teach all the lessons? Absolutely. But we want to watch that unit and look at the strand of that standard as we go throughout it. We also have small group instruction. I'm super excited about small group instruction. Currently, Shanahan is a big name in small group instruction and literacy, and he is kind of blowing up what small group instruction used to look like and maybe how it should look like because of how it impacts students. So we are really taking a big look at small group instruction at Linwood this year. I also put target time up there because that is dedicated time where we're making sure that every kid gets what they need in that spot of the day every day they're in school. So that might look like teachers sharing students, students getting other support, but it's a critical time to make sure that we are giving the kids the instruction they need. And it's all based on the standards. So how do we measure all that? So at Linwood, every child in grades 2nd through 5th grade are progress monitored on their fluency and accuracy rate of what they are reading. That is based on grade level text. So if I'm a 4th grader, twice a month I sit down with my teacher, I read a 4th grade level text, and they are timing me for a minute to see how many words can I read accurately. And then we have those scores in a wonderful tool that I'm not even going to mention because I'll get lost in it. It's so great. But we're tracking that progress, and we look at that every data meeting to figure out if we have students that aren't growing in their fluency, what are we doing about it? Because whatever we're doing isn't currently working, and we have to make a change. If you are in kindergarten or 1st grade, we measure CBMR, but it becomes later in the year. We start in kindergarten with sounds, in all the alphabetic sounds, and then we move into nonsense words. Then we go into CBMR. 1st grade starts at nonsense words, and then they move into CBMR. And CBMR is fluency and accuracy in their reading of a grade level text. We also look at our literacy curriculum, weekly assessments, and unit assessments. One of the things at Linwood that we've decided to do is to commit to doing a weekly assessment to just have a gauge in how do we think they're going to do on that end of unit assessment. How are they doing on that standard that we're focusing on this unit? So it's a quick way that teachers can gather that data. The other one is just looking at the Fast Bridge assessment that we do fall, winter, spring, and then looking at intervention data that we do as well. So you'll see that math is very similar. So we're still focused on the growth that every student has. We're focused on that 65%. The only things that change a little bit are the strategies. The strategies that we do are number talks, and that is going to come up a little bit later when we talk about practice profiles. We talk a lot at Linwood about manipulatives in the primary grades. Manipulatives are critical when we're working with students on learning about number sense and place value. What does a 10 mean to them? What does it mean to have 100 or 1,000? We have to get that visually represented for our littles, and the manipulatives is one way to do that. Again, small group instruction is a part of that strategy, and then target time as well. Then if you go down to the data measurement, it's similar. We're using the FAST assessment, fall, winter, spring. Those are our screeners to kind of help us have like a dipstick in how kids are doing. And then we do something similar to fluency in reading, but it's fluency in math, and it's automaticity in their facts. And they take, at Linwood, we've committed to having students do that assessment once a month, and teachers doing instruction on that in accordance with what the data comes back for their students. It's another way for us to make sure that we have students that are leaving Linwood with place value and number sense. All of the research out there for math will tell you, if you do not have that number sense and place value, you cannot continue to build on that foundation. So if we don't have kids that are adding or subtracting, and we talk about borrowing and regrouping and all of those pieces, they have to have that place value and number sense as well. Otherwise, they can never continue to grow and go to that next level in math. We also use our math expression unit assessments, and we started, this is our 2nd year where we will be doing student surveys around the confidence in math. We have found that kids are not confident in math, and we want to get a gauge on an individual level how kids feel about math and how we can help them build their confidence. The other piece that I skipped up there is we do a number talk formative assessment. So every month, K through 5, our teachers do a Number Talk formative assessment, and what that looks like, I just was in a 5th grade classroom, and we had a problem, I think it was like 35 times 72. And every 5th grader had a sheet with that problem at the top and 6 boxes. And they had time to show as many ways, up to 6, that they could solve that problem differently. So we're trying to get kids to have diversity in how they solve a problem. Not just one way, but having multiple ways and solutions to get to the answer. And we look at that when we're in data meetings and gauge that for growth as well in math. This is our social emotional learning goal, and we focus a lot of this on behavior referrals. So what we did is we looked at last year, and what we noticed is we had a large number of students that had 3 or more referrals. And we thought that was so intriguing. And we decided we wanted to focus on that this year and spend more time trying to have less students that have 3 or more referrals in a school year. So that might look like having them do a check-in, check-out with another adult. We have a wonderful mentoring program at Linwood that we have had going since my first year there. Lauren Riedemann brought that program there. So we thought this was important enough for us to focus on. Some of our strategies that we do is morning meeting. That is something that happens in every classroom every morning in our school. We also have the school forests that we do weekly. Those visits are critical because even when I'm taking kids out, I'm bonding with those kids. When I'm out in that forest, we just took a bunch of students. Every student went out snowshoeing with me before the break. And I usually bring along Tanya or BIS, or the counselor might come in. And not just because I need help, because the kids are really great in the forest, but adults need time outside too. And it's good for them to have that time with kids as well. And Tanya and Nathan and I, we spend a lot of time talking to kids about maybe choices that weren't the best. But when we're out in the forest with them, that's where we can fill their buckets. So now we're having positive interactions with them out there. So those times are critical. We also use the catalyst approach. I brought that from my previous district. I love that approach as a teacher, and we continue to have that work. Some of the ways that we measure that is we have a morning meeting student survey. Questions like, do you get greeted every morning? Do you feel like you belong in your classroom? Do you feel like you have friends in your classroom? So we do that survey in January and May, and we look at that data as a staff and as a classroom teacher. Why would this kiddo say he doesn't feel like he belongs? Those are things we need to look into. We also do morning meeting walkthroughs. So I will often go around and just make sure we've committed to doing morning meetings at Linwood. Are we doing them? And what that looks like when I share that data out with staff is I share the percentage of classrooms that are doing it when I make those rounds, which I do about every other week. We also have a school forest student and staff feedback survey. I've used that data a lot when I'm with the Minnesota DNR or working with other school forest staff because it makes a difference, and we have to have some data about what differences those forest visits make on students as learners when they're back in the classroom. We also use FastBridge for Sabers and My Sabers. So the teacher does it on every student individually, and the students do it. And that also is a very important piece of SEL because our counselor pores over that data to figure out how do kids feel about themselves. That assessment will tell us kids from their responses that are at risk. So that is another way that we can catch some of those kids that maybe we're missing because they're quiet or we don't see that they might be in crisis. So another very good tool. We also look at attendance, and then another piece to bring in that catalyst is we have to have Catalyst certified teachers. We had another teacher today in second grade get certified in Catalyst. That's one of our goals as a building about who we are. So, the piece I really want to hone in on and give you just a taste of is practice profiles. What is a practice profile? So, previous in my career, I did a lot of work around practice profile, and I loved them as a teacher in a classroom, and I loved them as a coach. And the reason for that is a practice profile is a tool that teachers use to help them understand the practice that we've committed to as a building. I do not create these practice profiles. This is something we do as a school, which I'll talk a little bit about in the next slide. But you're breaking down one thing, and you're breaking it down into its core components. You describe, if I came into your classroom, what would I see? What would I observe? What would students be doing? What would the teacher be doing? Here's kind of like the key characteristics. So I talked about the concepts, the core components. There's different implementation levels. Obviously, if we're diving into something new, it takes a while to implement that, to get it to perfection. Guiding that implementation, and what does it look like to support fidelity? So at Linwood, I want to tell you a little bit about how a practice profile comes to be. The first practice profile that we wrote together as a building instructional leadership team was number talks and morning meeting. So we decided as a build to do that. And then what we did is in staff meetings, we broke up into two groups. There was a number talk group and a morning meeting group. And then they started crafting, what does morning meeting look like at Linwood in a classroom? Now, this involves looking at research. This involves looking at what is morning meeting when you look at Responsive Classroom or Origins and what they say. So the teachers do a lot of work to create these practice profiles. They also kind of spend time sharing at the end each time that we do it about what they've done so far in the draft process. A practice profile can take from 6 to almost the end of the year to build, because you keep bringing it back and bringing it back until we can all agree, okay, we think this is it. This is what we agree as a staff at Linwood that a number talk is. It's super helpful because also when we had new teachers this year, we gave them that practice profile. Here's what a number talk looks like at Linwood, and we went through that. Here's what a morning meeting looks like. And then also, I model that morning meeting piece. Anytime that we're having staff PD days where I have a little bit more time to get together with them, workshop week, those all-day PDs, we start with a morning meeting so that no matter where a teacher is in the learning of that component, they know exactly what that looks like because they've had it modeled for them. We also obviously allow time when we have our peer coaches in the building for teachers to go and visit. Teachers that have this, they have mastered what a morning meeting looks like. Number Talks takes a little bit of a change because we have math coaches, so it's perfect. They do so much work going in and modeling what a number talk is for our teachers. So we have coaching, we have support. Anytime there is implementation of a practice profile, you always have to make sure that you have that professional development and that coaching as we're implementing something like that. And as you imagine, we always have new staff, so that coaching never ends. Practice profiles are really good for accountability. Accountability about, we decided to implement this, are we doing that as a school? It also helps with sharing data about where we're at. 15 classes did it, great, 15 out of 17. What happened with those 2? Sometimes the class was out in the forest, okay. Another class just didn't do it for that day, whatever that means. That's why it's important to get in there every 2 weeks to kind of look at what that data is. We all know what a classroom is in elementary, and things can come up. Instructional rounds is something that we're diving into this year, and it's super exciting. So that is the next level of having your built your instructional leadership team, they're getting out into classrooms and they're using that practice profile to see where we are as a building in implementing that practice profile that we decided to use. So it is really scary. I've been in a process like this before as a teacher where you're like, what? I don't want to evaluate my co-teacher. Like, that's my partner. It's not about evaluating. It's about going into a classroom and using that practice profile to celebrate all the things the teacher is doing and bringing that back as a leadership team, and then talking about trends. What did we see? You know what? Sometimes people have every kid share during sharing. Sometimes people only have 3 kids share. So it's digesting all that data of being in the classroom and allowing staff to have a first-hand knowledge of being able to get out into other rooms, because really, they get to see someone else do it. That's powerful. When we get to watch each other at our craft, that's how we get to be better. That's how ideas spread and you get inspired. So that's that next part that we're digging into, and it's awesome. So always our goal is to have 100% implementation and integrity of the practice profile. So where are we in Linwood at practice profiles? We have a morning meeting one, and that is closely related to our SEL goal and strategy. We have a number talk one, and that's also connected to our math SIP goal and strategy. This year, we are working on a school forest one and a small group one. And so again, we've had the staff come together. I think Dr. Massey was present when we broke up into the 2 groups and they started working on these. And it takes time, and it takes the teachers a lot of thinking, because even when we started on the school forest one, you're putting in all the little idiosyncrasies of what does it take to take a class out to the forest. And sometimes we do things without even knowing, and it's really stepping back and looking at all those little components that we do. So I want to show you a little bit about what it looks like. This is what our morning meeting practice profile looks like. It specifically states what it is. What is a morning meeting? It also talks about what is the purpose? Why do we find this to be important? And then we put the research up there, because I am a strong believer that if we are going to do anything at Linwood Elementary, we better have the research to back it up. Because otherwise, why are we doing it? Then it goes into the core components or elements that it talks about in a practice profile. And for each one, it tells you what it looks like. So you can see, if you were a new teacher coming in, how clear of a roadmap that this would be for you, so that you could understand. And even if I'm leading it, to have them go through and say, well, geez, did Gretchen get them all? Right? Because she's supposed to be getting them all. But getting feedback about, what did I miss? Or what did I not do correctly? That's okay to have feedback about things that we need to get better or tune. Or, like the sharing conversation, do we agree it's okay that sharing's different as long as every student has the opportunity to share? Sure. It doesn't have to be all in the same morning. It could be in that month, but every student has voice in that room. Then we also put sometimes, what is it not? Because we've talked about that as a staff, where sometimes people say, well, it's this, and we're like, but actually, after we've done the research, that's not what it is. So making sure that we have that in there if we need it. This is our number talk profile, very similar. It has the same format. We come up as a staff with the core elements, and a lot of those come out of research, come out of best practice of number talk or morning meeting. And like I said, currently we're in draft form for school forests and small groups. So, any questions?
Wonderful. Who wants to start off?
So, I have a, right off the bat. Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
You said teachers are going out weekly. All of your teachers are going out weekly?
Correct.
That's amazing. Because I know I talked to you even in like maple syrup time.
Yes.
That wasn't I mean,
last
there were
year.
some going, I mean, they
Yes.
were using it, but it wasn't all of them every week.
Yes.
So I am super excited for you and that the teachers are getting to do it too. Because like
Yeah.
you said, it's not just the students that need that nature break, it's the adults in the room too.
Yeah.
So,
And there's a little fact that's coming out that I've been super excited about, that students with ADHD, 15 minutes outside for that student is better than any pill that they can take. And that is coming from research that pediatricians are doing. So getting kids outside, whether you have a forest or not, is critical.
yeah.
So exciting work is coming out with outdoor education, so it's important.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And I love your ideas. And do you have any ideas when you say the school forest, it's in draft? Have there been talks of ideas or anything?
So I think a lot of it is about what are the core components of like a school forest visit?
Okay.
So we talked a lot about like planning and prep. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Do we have a student that needs to have a side-by-side, take the kiddo out there? We have a form they need to fill out. We have students with inhalers. We have kids allergic to bees, and there are bees in the forest. We have to have, all the teachers have backpacks, so going through the nurse and seeing that we have any of those medication needs that we would need to have out in the forest. So it's like all that planning and prep.
Okay.
But in that preparation is, what does the visit look like today? Is it forest bathing? Are we doing math out there? What are we doing out there? Then it's about the process of getting out there. So we do different things at Linwood about go to this point, go to that point, do this point. So there's all those little pieces that we're teaching students at Linwood about how we actually get out to the forest. Then when we're out there, what does that lesson look like? And how do we have the reflection piece at the end? How do we get kids and staff to reflect on what they learned out there or did out there? And then how do we also get that feedback back to proving that the forest is a resource that we need and makes a difference?
Yeah. That's great. Thank you.
Member Tyson?
Well, I'm so impressed with your practice profiles. Those are incredible. I think it's so important, like you stated, to have that fidelity, that consistency. And I think in terms of teachers and new teachers, they can just embrace and be empowered with knowing exactly what the outcomes are, what outcomes are expected. It's just so clearly written. Do you feel like you have to alter that in any way each year, or kind of revisit the profile and make some changes?
Yeah, so we kind of always say they're a living document, because even when we did number talks, I believe Dave Sauer came in and we were looking over it and he was like, hey, you know what? I think this piece is missing. And I was like, oh my word, you're right. Sometimes you stare at it for so long. So then we take it back to the staff, and I think we always are able to make those changes, because sometimes things evolve, like even small groups that I was talking about. How that used to look is evolving. And so always making sure that these documents are living, and we can always go back to the table and bring that up, and then again decide as a staff, is this what we commit to? So yeah, absolutely, great question.
That is good. And then who is on the BUILD committee, the
So,
BUILD team?
Yeah, so I actually, I got this idea from Kenny Newby, who was at Forest Lake. So we have a BUILT, which is our instructional team. We have a BOLT, which is our organizational team. And we have a BELT, which is our equity team.
Wow.
So at the beginning of the year, we allow staff to sign up for the top 2 that they would like to be on. And then we kind of filter through who needs to be where. So on each team, every grade level is represented. We have a special ed teacher on every team. We only have one specialist that's there during these meetings. So we do have a specialist on our organizational team. And then we have Sarah Henry, our academic specialist, our counselors on every team. Our BIS obviously is on the equity team. So it's kind of all hands on deck. Everyone has a role on one of the BUILT, BELT, or BOLT.
And kind of a self-selected activity.
Yes.
Or a self-selected
Yeah, because I want them
choice.
to have buy-in and
Yeah.
excitement about the one they choose to be on.
That's awesome. And could you refresh my memory
Yeah.
on who the staff is looking at the SEL goals? Do you have a staff from Lake's Family
Yes, okay, so we have a huge grant, and it's.
with a grant, right?
Yep, so that's Abby Hines.
Okay.
And she presented with us last year. She's a huge piece of the work we do. So she does a lot of lunch groups. The goal of the grant is all about being proactive with students so that we can prevent them from going into crisis, from going into making decisions that aren't great as they get older. So it's about educating them on different things, but also how are we seeing things that are popping up about a kiddo, and how are we asking Abby or our BIS or counselor to come in and help support them in lunch bunches or different one-on-ones, or going back to the mentorship program too.
That is terrific. And does that grant run out at some point?
So we
or-
have to like re-up that grant every 2 years, I believe. So
Okay.
I just ran into Linda Matson earlier this evening, and we talked specifically about that because that's coming up for us to have to renew again. So, yeah.
That is so wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Awesome
Yep.
presentation.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Member Castle?
So you were saying that the students aren't comfortable with math, their
Yeah.
proficiency. This math problem that you had with the 77 times 35, and you were saying that there were 6 different ways that they could do something. Are they required to come up with 6 different ways?
No.
Okay.
Nope. We do not want to require them, but that is a way to differentiate that process, because we have kids that their brain just works so uniquely that they're going to probably be able to come up with 6. And I had one of the students turn that problem into a division problem and do other ways to do that. So like it's providing that option, but the piece that we're getting to there is continued and repeated practice on strategies, and our goal is to always have them for sure have 2 ways to get to the answer. And sometimes we talk to the kids about, okay, you didn't get to the right answer, but you actually did the process correctly, but you added this one piece wrong or you subtracted. So it's all about process and answer, because we want the kids to feel confident, like, okay, I get the process, I just have to be more, I have to be better at looking to make sure I don't make like a mathematical error, but it is not required to do all 6.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because I saw a presentation by a professor, and there was these 3 different ways. There was the standard way, there was something that looked like a tic-tac-toe board in a square, and there was another way, I can't remember what it was.
Sure.
But he said that the standard way works the fastest, and all these other ways are not helpful. It confuses the children, and it's a distraction from actually getting the work done.
And I hear you.
That was what a professor was saying,
Yeah.
so.
And I think there's a lot of debate out there about that very thing, because I will have parents call and say, I don't know what math you're doing. I don't know, I need help, right? Because a lot of us know that traditional way. And so we never had that opportunity to do it other ways, but I think we have to allow that opportunity for the kids that can. And especially when you're in kindergarten and 1st grade, there are kids that might be doing little bubbles to add up a number. And then they might be able to do it like with base 10 blocks. And then they might be able to do it with writing the digits. So I think it's that opportunity for students to have the choice. And I agree, I hear you, there's so much debate out there about it, but it is powerful to see what kids do on those sheets, because we do it once a month on a grade level standard, and kids come up with very unique ways to solve things. So I don't think we ever tell them, you have to do it this way, but we tell them, find the way that works for you to solve that problem, and they figure out what that is. Do some kids pick the way that I grew up doing it? Yes, that makes sense to them. But we do have other kids that can come up with different ways that maybe I don't always understand, but they get it and they get to the right answer. So excellent. We talk about that a lot in our building.
And I just want to add that my daughter when she was at the Old Century Junior High, everything was kind of taught one way in math, and it was on the thing that wheeled it and projected it. But when she got to the high school, they started showing different processes because all people's math brains aren't the same. So math started to greatly improve when she was shown different ways and different methods, different processes to arrive at that answer. And then she started generating some of those ideas on her own, and math just improved. So I know that there is speculation, but I know for my daughter it really greatly helped.
Yeah, and I think it's providing and then allowing them to choose.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions?
I want to go to your morning meeting.
Okay.
When is it?
I would love it. You must
It's so
come.
fun. Do you have
Okay,
fun?
I really tried hard. Thank you so much.
did
I
so
love
great.
coming here, so thank you for your time.
And always recruiting mentors, are you not?
Yes, I have a mentor at this table that's been with us since the beginning. And so we are always looking for mentors to come in because we always have kids that need mentors. So let me know.
Before you go, I got one question for you.
Yeah.
I got to do my annual plug here. Do we have other elementary schools coming to visit the Linwood School Forest?
No, but we would love it. I just was talking to Katie Schultz at Lino because we were able to see the new space lab. It was amazing. So we talked about that very thing of how can we get through the barriers to get kids out to that forest, because it's a free resource.
It is.
So Katie and I will see what we can do.
Okay, and I know you work on it every year, so that's
Yeah.
why I asked to give you the opportunity and to bring the awareness that it's something that we want to do. And
Yes.
if you need help from the board, please come to us. And,
Okay.
we'll put our brains together too and try to figure out how we can make it happen. Because
Yeah.
it's
I
a great
appreciate that.
resource, and it's disappointing that the other schools in our district don't get to utilize it as much as the
Yeah,
the
agreed.
students in Linwood.
Yes.
So that would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for
Yeah,
coming in.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gretchen. So
All
good.
right, that brings us to positive happenings. Does anybody have anything for positive happenings this evening?
We all made it through whatever illness was going around,
That's
and
true.
I think
That is true.
I'm unaware of it.
good
I
for
went
you.
to the Christmas concert, and it was fun because I told some people that I had seen at the YMCA that day, and a few of them came, and they just loved how it was decorated, and the music just warmed your heart, and it was just a beautiful event. It was really lovely, so. It wasn't the best weather night, but I was glad I kind of spread the word, because I think so many people in our community, you know, it's busy and you miss out on those wonderful concerts that our students provide in our music department, so that was mine, and that seemed like forever ago.
That does.
And I'm sure you're going to talk about the SEC music event, right?
Oh, yeah.
I sure can.
Okay, so that's going to be my positive happening, that I'm excited to go to that, so,
Yep.
thank you, yeah.
All right, if there's nothing else there for positive happenings, we'll move to reports. We'll start with workshops and conferences, kind of a down time of the year for that, but does anybody have anything for workshops and conferences? Yeah, I suspected. City of Forest Lake, Member Christensen or Member Tyson?
Yeah, there's just been one meeting, I believe, since our last meeting here. On December 8th was the Truth and Taxation meeting at the City Council. So they talked about that, talked about, a new partnership with is it a nonprofit foundation or a volunteer association? Let's Go Fishing, it's called. There's going to be a club in Forest Lake, so it's a partnership between the Forest Lake Parks Commission, and they've talked to the Forest Lake fishing team to maybe work some things out together. But it's a club that is free. It takes people out fishing, older citizens or veterans or people who just don't have access to a boat. And so there was talk about that and a donation from the city to get that started. They said the hometown holiday was very successful. Between 800 and 1,000 people attended. They went through 45 gallons of hot chocolate. So it was a really wonderful event, and they commented on how it just keeps growing every year. So that concludes my report.
Excellent. Thank you, Member Christensen. Member Tyson,
I just
anything
want
to
to
add?
add a couple of quick things.
Great.
They did a lot of clearing on Eureka Avenue, so next spring that's going to be closed. It's the road that goes around Clear Lake, kind of, Love's is one way, and then Eureka's that other way past the Caribou. But there's some really nice things that are going to be added there, a better fishing pier, seating, and it's going to look really nice, but it's going to be hard when it's closed. The other thing I wanted to add, that they are still in a lot of discussion around a new public works building and costs involved with that, which is quite a bit. So that's all I wanted to add.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Member Castle?
They're not going to do that at the same time that 97 is going to be done, are they?
I don't know the exact, I just know they did a lot of clearing, and then it starts up in the spring. don't know
I
if
think the answer to that is yes.
Because a lot of people take that
get
way
there.
to
Yeah.
get to the
The
highway.
11th, on the other hand, is scheduled, and that is delayed until 97 gets done.
Yeah,
Yep.
and we had, that part, that boulevard that's beautiful now,
Yes.
closed for forever, so nobody could get over the freeway. And so, anyway, I think we have to just focus on how things will be so much nicely improved when they're done.
Just have to use the highway a lot, I guess. Darn it.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
All right, thank you. Brings us to community education. Member Christensen.
There has not been a recent meeting. The last meeting was October 10th, so there has not been a meeting. There was not a meeting in November or December.
Member Tyson, MSBA.
Yeah, so it's already here. It's next week, so I hope everyone at the table here is planning on attending. It's got a great coming together for student success, so really great. I hope everybody can come for my Director of District 6 discussions. The fun part about my district is that I have half Washington County and half Ramsey, so we get to really visit with some fun folks and find out how things are going. Just want to highlight quick that there's changes. So the early bird sessions are actually Wednesday, and they're during the day now, 1:30 to 4. And then there's the new day and time, which I brought up for the awards banquet. It's actually Wednesday evening, and that's from 5:30 to 7, and that will be at the Minneapolis Convention Center in that same ballroom area. So plan on that, and then after that, there's a social with dueling pianos. So they're hoping that people can hang around, visit with their colleagues, visit with people from other districts that they've met. And the other thing I wanted to note is that there are floor changes, but everything's going to be on one floor this year, the lower level. And the mezzanine is where you check in. So the only thing that will go up for are the opening speaker and the closing speaker, which they're great. I'm not sure where they are in here, but the one opening speaker, he has a podcast about developing community connections, and it's just grown. It's just a huge podcast that he does. It's going to be fun to hear from him. The closing speaker was actually drafted by the Tennessee Titans, so he's a former professional football player, so he's got a great message as well. But the highlight, of course, is on this spot with the pink paper, is that Forest Lake area schools. They're going to be on the lower level, 100B, and it's Guiding Students with Purpose, a high school career pathways program. So I know we're competing with some other strong ones, but I've already heard of colleagues that are going to come, my Stillwater friends, and so looking forward to that and very proud that we're presenting. So thank you for doing that. And that concludes my report.
Wonderful. Thank you, Member Tyson. Dr. Massey, did you have anything to add on the presentation that you'll be offering?
No, the only thing I would say is I'll be joined by Mike Muron from the high school, JP Jacobson, Director Jacobson will join as well. Mr. Caldwell is going to be out of town, otherwise he would join us. And it's all about highlighting our career pathway program that helps kids create a sense of purpose and meaning for their time at their high school. They're not just marking their time and earning credits, they're really preparing for their future along a career pathway. And we're going to celebrate that and ask kids, this will be really the driving point, is kids create a sense of purpose. They now have a reason and value and a sense of meaning for coming to school, which boosts attendance and boosts graduation rates and success across the board. So we're going to tie all that together, and it's a pretty powerful presentation.
Wonderful. All right, thank you.
Looking forward to it.
Well, that'll bring us to the board vacancy update, and this is more of an update for the public and the board, because I spoke with most board members about this, but we're still working on trying to get appointments scheduled with each of the remaining individuals that applied for the role that are still being considered. We will discuss that and most likely make our decision on the 22nd with the last 3 remaining candidates. I know I have one individual that I still need to meet with. I know a couple other board members have some outstanding meetings scheduled as well. I would encourage all of us here at the table to meet with all 3 candidates. I've enjoyed the discussions I've had thus far. I anticipate my upcoming discussion will be just as enjoyable. So, that's
It's nice seeing.
yeah,
one of
one
our
of them was in
candidates, yeah.
attendance
Andy's
this
here.
evening,
Yeah.
and
Thank you for being here.
I know another one is traveling, so.
Okay, good to know.
Yep, yeah, so that, yeah, just like attendance at board meetings, sometimes this process it's gone long enough that, life happens, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the update I have on the vacancy update. I suspect it'll be on the proposed agenda for the 22nd to actually make a decision. So over the next couple of weeks, definitely make it a priority to meet with and have those discussions. Which brings us to the superintendent report. Dr. Massey.
Thank you. With the change of the calendar now in 2026, we're also turning our attention, believe it or not, to the 26-27 school year. And that will then engage our administrative team in the process of building our staffing model, our budget model, all of which will hinge on our new elementary boundaries, serving our 6 elementary schools. We have done a lot of communication thus far, and we are just on the cusp of sending out specific targeted communication to every family who's identified to change their school. Remember that a family who is identified to move from their current school to a new elementary school based on the boundary change, those families can elect to stay at their current school, but we need them to tell us that they're going to prefer to stay and provide transportation in doing so that we can begin to identify section numbers, enrollment numbers across all of those elementary schools. We've got a model that tells us how many kids are going to be at which school, but if half of those families decide to stay in their current school, that will have a significant impact on enrollment in any given school. So over the next number of weeks, leading into the February elementary conferences, we need to get a really tight number on which families are going to actually move, which families are going to stay, and that also includes our families from Lino Lakes to Forest View for the Immersion Plus program. So a lot of heavy lifting going on there, communicating. We hope to hear from most of our families, and those that we don't, we will have an outreach from school principals and administrative assistant staff directly contacting families to learn what their game plans are for the next year. We have had, thank you, Member Anderson and Member Tyson, for joining our bullying prevention working group. We've had 3 meetings. We have another meeting scheduled next week, which will be our final meeting. That was an as-needed meeting, but the conversation was so rich at the last meeting. We're going to schedule a follow-up meeting. We've identified a number of things that we think we can do to strengthen even more the work we do around our bullying prevention work and ways in which we build capacity with kids and to support kids in our schools. And as Member Corcoran indicated, the Suburban East Music Festival, the annual festival concert, is scheduled for February 1st. It's a Sunday, beginning at 4:45 with the concert at 6 p.m. I sent out through email, I'll have it in my weekend update, an RSVP for you to indicate whether or not you're able to attend. I strongly encourage you to join us. It's our top music groups and our top music kids from Forest Lake joining the top music kids from our conference schools, putting on a choral, a strings orchestra, and the winds and band concert, and then a culminating event at the end. Powerful event. Strongly encourage you to come. It's being hosted by Mounds View this year.
Just nice, that's close.
Yeah, it's close this year. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Dr. Massey.
Thank you.
Any questions? All right, seeing none brings us to the consent agenda. Is there any item that anybody would like to remove?
I would like to remove item 8.6.
8.6, any other items? Seeing none, I entertain a motion to approve items 8.1 through 8.5 and 8.7 through 8.12.
So moved.
And
Second.
motion is second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that carries. Brings us to item 8.6, appointment of school district legal counsel. I entertain a motion to approve.
I'd like to make a motion.
We need a motion to approve.
Nope.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Second, to approve.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve.
What did you say prior to that? Can you repeat what you just said?
I said we need a motion to approve before discussion would be valid. We need a motion
Gotcha.
on the table.
Okay.
That's true.
Okay.
And
Okay,
you
so
made
let's
a
back
motion.
up. I will move to approve. Member Atkinson.
You're moving to
moved
approve.
to
8.6, I second.
Member Atkinson seconded it, so now we have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any discussion?
Yes,
Member Christensen.
in looking at the list of the different legal counsels that we have on our sheet here, I'm noticing that the longtime legal counsel that we've had of Kennedy and Graven is not on the list, and I'm wondering, was that an administration decision or Dr. Massey?
To answer that question, I would say administratively, we would recommend the continuation of Kennedy and Graven, given their comprehensive legal counsel that they would provide for the district and have throughout the years.
Well, it's my understanding that we have had the same lawyer represent us for, 10-plus years? And so she has a good, obviously, knowledge of our district. It would be good to have a continuation of someone with that much knowledge of our district. I'm thinking of, our auditing firm. I believe we've used the same auditing firm. They're quite familiar with us. So I'm just wondering why the change. Yeah, if someone can just answer. So if administration is recommending we continue with that, was this a decision of yours, Member Chair, or who made the decision? Because I was not consulted about it.
As with discussion with legal, very sensitive topics, probably not something that's appropriate for the boardroom.
Well, I think we could certainly know. I would like to know who made the decision to decide that we're not going to include them in our list, because it would seem to me that that would be a board decision. I'm just trying to determine.
It is a board decision.
It's a board decision,
It is a board decision, yes.
and the majority of the board agreed with that, or I'm
That
just
is
trying.
what is up for discussion at the moment.
So
Member Tyson.
I just want to add that this just seems very kind of poorly communicated. I mean, as a collective body, Kennedy and Graven represent us, the board members. So I'm just kind of dumbfounded. It seems heavy-handed. I don't know why they would be not on the list. I was kind of stunned. So I'd like to make a motion to reinstate Kennedy and Graven to represent us.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to add Kennedy and Graven to the consent agenda. Is there any discussion on the amendment?
Can I make an amendment to the amendment, or do you have to wait for that to be voted?
An amendment to the amendment is certainly on the table.
Okay.
Or
Well,
certainly an option.
Okay, so not only that was taken out, we also had Radwick, Rozick, and Maloney, and also Jim Martin Law Firm. So all three were removed. So,
No, Jim Martin
Jim
is on
Martin
the
Law
list.
Firm.
oh, I'm
is-
sorry, but
is-
Radwick and Kennedy, the top two were taken out, right? Because on the new, it's just, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, so just the Radwick and Kennedy and Graven. So I would like to amend to put both of them back.
Okay,
I
so we
don't-
have an amendment to the amendment.
Yes, yes. And just due to the fact of what we've already talked about, the long-standing relationship and knowledge of our district, it's really hard to replace that. That is something that, as a collective board, we need to have that protection as a board, at a board level. And I believe we all feel very, comfortable with the representative from that firm, Maggie. And I feel like as a vice chair, I have that relationship built, and it's hard. I really don't want to lose that counsel. It makes me worry. so.
I concur.
Second, do you need a second for that amendment?
Yeah, so we have an amendment to the amendment. We have a second to the amendment to the amendment. So now the question that's up for debate is whether we amend Member Christensen's amendment, do I have that correct? To add Ratliff as well.
Ratliff, yeah.
Any discussion on the amendment to the amendment? Member Atkinson?
I have a few things to say in general. Member Tyson said that Kennedy and Graven represent us. And per my understanding, I mean, they represent the district.
Yes.
They do not represent
But our
specific people or board members. And Member Corcoran said, you think we all feel comfortable with them? And, I mean, through discussions I've had over this past year, I would not say that that's a 100% accurate statement, that we all feel the same way.
Okay, well, they do
I'm not done
represent us.
talking yet, please. So
Oh.
I just, you know, we have legal issues going on right now. It's a sensitive topic. We can't really fully
Yep.
discuss, so the whole thing in general has left me feeling with a sense of low confidence, and I think we have 4 other legal counsel listed on here. That should be sufficient for a while until current matters are wholly and completely resolved.
I would add to that this list is more of a pre-approval. Should we need the legal services of Kennedy and Graven or Ratliff and Rosick, it's always a possibility that administration comes to the board and we grant that approval.
We can,
I'm just curious, why would we grant that approval if we're not granting that approval right now this evening? What situation or
It's-
something might change? I mean, I would think that if administration would like to put a firm back on the list, a firm that they deal with and feel comfortable with, and yes, I cannot call legal counsel myself, but the chair and the vice chair can. So to Member Tyson's point, it represents the
Us.
board, like not us
Exactly.
individually, but the chair and the vice chair can talk to the lawyer. And, I mean, again, if administration is recommending something, I mean, I guess, and I understand that there are sensitive issues. I'm fully aware of that. I'm just wondering, and I still haven't gotten an answer, who made the decision to remove these 2? And it sounds like it.
To answer your question, Member Christensen, there's a difference between a blanket approval and an approval for a specific case. So should the need present itself to involve one of these law firms, that is the question that can be brought before the board.
So
Or
again,
should we need to make a change in a future meeting, we can bring that back to the agenda and re-add the firms, should we need to. As Member Atkinson mentioned, we do have 4 other law firms that
But,
are represented here.
Again, to clarify to your point, Member Ebeling, if Member Antonsen said that doesn't, I don't know I'm sorry, what did you, a high degree of confidence?
I don't exactly remember, but
I'm just concerned if administration would say, we would like to be able to use Kennedy Graven for XYZ and brings it to the board. That's my question. What would change here that the board, tonight we're saying no, there's a low confidence from one of the members here. I don't know what in the world would make the board say, oh yeah, sure, let's get them for sure, when, tonight, this evening, we're not.
I see that's deviating from the discussion. The motion that's on the table right now is an amendment to the amendment to add Ratliff. Do we have any other discussion on that, or can we dispose of that and get back to the main amendment? Okay, all those in favor, that would be, well, here, let me clarify this. A yes vote on this would mean that you want to add Ratliff to Member Christensen's amendment, which will then come back for consideration. A no vote is to simply leave Member Christensen's motion to amend to only include Kennedy and Graven. Is that clear?
I believe I made the motion, though, to reinstate Kennedy and Graven.
Oh, was it your motion?
It was my
Okay,
motion.
my apologies. I thought it was Member Christensen's motion. So we're talking about Member Tyson's original motion to
And
add
then adding Ratliff.
Kennedy, and Member Corcoran had an amendment to the amendment. What we are facing at this moment right now, the question before us is Member Corcoran's, Member Corcoran's motion to add Ratliff and Rosick as an amendment to Member Tyson's amendment. So a yes vote would be to add them, a no vote would be to leave the amendment to simply state Kennedy. Is that clear? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Okay, so the amendment to the amendment fails. We're back to Member Tyson's original motion to amend the appointment of school district legal counsel to include Kennedy and Graven. Is there any discussion on that?
I just have a
Member
little
Tyson.
bit further discussion. It just feels very non-transparent. And Member Antonsen sharing now, I haven't heard any of that this whole year, that you don't feel guided or you're not confident. And this is, I've been on the board. Kennedy and Graven has been representing us and our district for a long time, long-standing relationship. And here we come to a meeting and they're just taken off. So I think that's not transparent. I don't think that's good board work. I think we need to work together and have discussions.
I would love to work together, but then this is obviously a sensitive topic that we really can't go into. So, I mean, that's why you haven't heard about it. I mean.
I'm not talking about the topic. I'm talking about Kennedy and Graven and the professionalism that our district has been served by that firm. And I feel like this is heavy-handed. You guys obviously know you have the votes, and I don't think that it feels right. And I think we should reinstate them. If we feel like you can use somebody different, then go ahead, but they have represented us and our district for a long time and done an excellent professional job.
Well, there are varying legal opinions out there that vary widely, and that is what has given me a low sense of confidence, and I feel like the pending matters need to be resolved before I would feel confident saying yes.
Is there
Mr.
any-
Chair, if I can
Yes.
provide a point of clarification. The firms that are currently on the list are extremely reputable firms that provide valuable service to the district. Heitzman specializes in insurance matters. Feist Law specializes in immigration status kind of issues, which is extremely helpful. Maslin is going to specialize in some contract legal services. Jim Martin is more general counsel. I would point out to the board that Jim Martin, is an independent practice, not a comprehensive law firm. I think that ending on this list leaves the district a bit vulnerable to access to comprehensive legal service and just legal guidance, and some of those calls that we make are in the immediate. And I think delaying a 2-week to get to the board for approval can provide some timing issues. So I just want the board to be aware that this list alone is not as comprehensive as administration would recommend. So where the board goes with that is obviously your prerogative and your call, but I think it's important that you understand that there's a void here of comprehensive legal counsel for the district. And certainly Kennedy Graven and Ratwick and Waldsberger, who's been on the list in the past, have been, provides that comprehensive list for the district. And would ask that you give that some consideration.
Another point of clarification there on the Jim Martin law firm is a new addition for this year, I believe.
He's been on the list in the past. Haven't had him directly on the list recently because he's also specializes in, as a hearing officer, where we need hearing officer for student-type matters. We haven't had those in the last number of years and feel that bringing him on as general counsel is probably a good opportunity to do that.
All right, is there any other discussion on the amendment? Member Atkinson?
Can I ask, I cannot remember, Dr. Massey, from our discussion earlier, the name of the other one, the other firm.
There are other firms, they're more outstate. Pemberton is one, their main office is in Fergus Falls. They're more comprehensive than this list in terms of the services they provide. They provide very little special education services. And frankly, none of the groups on, or the firms on this list would provide the level of special education support that we would need. So that would be another area of concern.
Member Corcoran?
Can I ask a question about Radwick? Are they similar with what they offer, both the firms?
They are.
As
Yeah,
far as-
they specialize in different things depending upon who the attorneys are.
But you feel like either one would actually provide, we'd be less vulnerable as a district if we had one of those legal counsels?
It would certainly
Available.
provide a more comprehensive list of services.
Okay. So
Member Tyson?
So I'd like to hear from Member Castle. What are your thoughts?
I have not heard very good things about these firms.
Which ones?
The-
These two, Ratwig and
These two, yes.
Kennedy and Craven. And Member Atkinson alluded to that, but you're not telling us facts, so I don't know where you're getting your information, if you'd like to divulge that.
Just-
I don't know how
Just
you
if I may
keep pushing for
intervene really
facts when we
quickly.
can't talk about
We
a
have-
lot of it.
You're
Yeah,
talking about.
very sensitive information. We have to be very careful about what we discuss at the board. It's just a reminder to the board, not trying to stifle discussion here. I just want to remind the board that the legal matters that we have to be very sensitive to in this room.
Exactly, but what I'm asking for is what in regards to their reputations is what I'm talking
I
about.
would advise against discussing that too. That could
Okay.
open us up to defamation concerns. Member Christensen.
I would just like to make a point for the record before we vote here. It sounds, and hopefully maybe it'll change, but it sounds very much like we are about to vote to to not have at least two firms represent us, that our own superintendent is saying that he believes that we would be, I think the word you used was vulnerable, if we did not have these firms on our list. So I think we should just let that sink in for a little bit here. We're about to possibly vote directly against something that administration is recommending that is extremely important. We are, as board members, we have fiduciary responsibilities, we have legal responsibilities. This is a very complex district with a lot of legal possible situations. I don't think any of us would want us to be vulnerable in any of those situations. So I just think we should all just take a minute and just reflect on Dr. Massey's comments before we vote.
All right.
Well said. Well said.
The motion on the table is to amend the appointment of school district legal counsel to add Kennedy and Graven to the list. A yes vote would be to add them. A no vote would be to leave the list as presented. Seeing no additional discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No. Okay, that motion fails. That brings us back to the main motion. Do we have any other discussion on that? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?
No.
No,
All right, the motion fails and we have no legal representation. Which brings us to the approval of routine action items.
a gotcha moment.
Appoint, well, actually, sorry here. We typically bundle these because we have the appoint the board representatives. So let's just discuss items 9.1 through 9.13. Figure out who we want to land where. And we'll take some notes along the way. And once we have all of this figured out, I'll entertain a single motion to work through 9.1 through 9.10. Sorry, I misspoke and I said 9.13. So 9.1 through 9.10. We'll start with board representation to MSBA. At the moment, Member Corcoran and Member Rebeline are the representatives to MSBA. I would be interested in continuing that. Member Corcoran is nodding. I take that as
Yes,
interested.
yes, yes. would still like
continuing
to.
that.
Yep.
Would anybody else, we can have up to 3 if anybody else would like to join. Otherwise, we can stay with those 2. All right. Appoint board representative to the Minnesota State High School League. At this moment, again, myself and member Corcoran are listed. The vacant seat of member Haglund's is also listed. Do we have a third member that would like to join that?
I'd like to be added to 9.2.
Okay, member Tyson would like to be added to the Minnesota State High School League. That brings us to appointing a board representative to schools advocating for fair funding. SAF, I believe we have 6 months.
Yeah.
June 30.
Yep, June 30 on that one. Member Castle and member Tyson. Are those members interested in retaining?
I'm not. I attended a lot of their meetings either virtually or in Roseville and through their transition of their name change. So I
Okay.
feel like if there's 6 months left and someone else wants to engage, I don't know what we're going to get out of it at this point, since we're AMSD. So
We do
I'd
have
like
the
to
option
relinquish.
Yeah, we do have the option to disengage too, unless member Castle would like to stay
Yeah.
on there.
I agree with member Tyson that if it's winding down, so
We do have paid membership through the year,
Okay.
so that would be the reason to continue to stay as engaged as we can.
Would, with that in mind, would either of you like to change your mind and maybe stay? Or would another member like to join?
I'm doing AMSD with Julie when I can, so I'm out on
Yeah,
SAF.
me too.
Okay. Member Castle, would you like
I'll
to stay?
continue with the
You'll stay
SAF.
listed? Okay. Which will bring us to AMSD. Right now, we have member Corcoran, who we appointed in the interim until the end of the year. Member Tyson, you just noted that you'd be interested
Her
with
and I are
member
together. I think.
Corcoran?
Together, I don't know. Yeah, I got omitted, but that's
Is,
okay.
is there a third board member that would like to join that? Were you part of that last year too? Oh, my apologies. I'm sorry. You two would like to continue. Would any other member like
I
to
don't have
join
a
that?
lot of time, but when I can,
Friday
virtually.
mornings at 7:30.
Yeah,
Okay.
lot of great
All right.
learning.
And I have access
know-
to that through 916,
Yeah,
so.
I would, I'll add
We'll add member
myself
Atkinson
onto
as a
that.
third.
That's a great idea.
Okay, that brings us to the board liaison to Forest Lake. As we had in our report earlier tonight, that was member Christensen and member Tyson. Would you like to remain?
I'll remain.
I'll remain.
Do we have a third member that would like to join them? Okay, we'll leave that as it is then. Brings us to the Special Education Advisory Council. Myself, member Tyson, and member Antonsen are the current representatives. Member Tyson, member Antonsen, would you like to stay on that?
Sure. I don't even feel like I've done anything with this, like, when I'm,
Yeah, I'll stay on it myself. Member Tyson?
I'll stay on it.
Okay, we
I
have
know
3.
there's 4 meetings a year, correct? That I,
One?
Yeah, it's very light.
Okay, so-
It's very light.
that's why I feel, I'm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, it's a very light workload
but I
there.
know I was going to your meetings and they planned some great events, parent nights and stuff, so yeah, I'd like to stay on that.
Well, and this is a good point to kind of remind the board, just because you're the liaison doesn't mean you're the only ones that can go to these events. I mean, even not being a liaison, you can still participate, so. The board representatives to community education, member Christensen, and then the vacant board seat are the 2 assigned there. Member Christensen, would you like to retain that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, would anybody like to join
I
that?
would like to, yeah.
Member Corcoran?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Okay, that gives us 2. The board representative to the Agricultural Education Advisory Board, at the moment, it's member Antonsen and member Castle. Would you two like to retain that role?
yes.
I would.
Okay, we have 2. Would a third like to join? All right, we'll leave that as it is as well. Bringing us to, sorry, I'm losing my own spot here. That was Ag. The EMS and Healthcare Advisory Board, member Antonsen and the vacant seat of member Haglund the current appointees, Member Atkinson, would you like to remain with that one?
Yes.
Okay, would any board member like to join Member Atkinson? Okay, we will leave that to just Member Atkinson, and I'll just also note for the board that once we do fill that vacant seat, we'll obviously give that individual an opportunity and perhaps bring a motion back to figure out where they want to sit for board representatives, since there is no way to just kind of slot them into that seat. The board representative to 916, that's myself, that's actually a 4-year term. I'm serving I'll be starting my 2nd year later this month. So with all of that, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I have a
Yes.
So, I'm sorry. Motion to, or go ahead. Which one were you approving?
Oh, I was going to say I would entertain a motion to approve items 9.1 through 9.10 as we have just agreed upon here at the table.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on that? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that motion carries. This,
Would it be possible that?
no,
I
this,
noticed on this, you don't put any of the names after who you're going to designate, so as a
Please,
citizen, just
please,
one sentence.
no.
I couldn't see what you're doing.
Order, please, order.
Shame.
This brings us to the appointment of district superintendent or designee, school board chair, and vice chair to engage in legal counsel. I will make a motion to approve this. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, seeing none. Oh, Member Castle.
So I would, I don't know if a motion's in order, but I would recommend the chair and the vice chair do some research for the theoretical lack of representation of the 4 that were on the list.
Yeah. Thank you,
said
Member Castle.
Penrose was one that would fill that, but.
Pemberton, yeah.
Since we currently don't have any.
Yeah.
And I wonder, Mr. Chair, if this is an appropriate time for me to ask this question. With respect to 8.6, a member that voted in the affirmative would have the opportunity to bring it back for reconsideration. Is that
No.
correct?
No, only a member who was on the winning side of the decision would have the opportunity to bring it back for reconsideration. In this case, since 8.6 failed to pass, members Christensen, Member Corcoran, and Member Tyson would have the opportunity to make a motion to reconsider. But myself, Member Atkinson, and Member Castle would not have that privilege.
So for what it's worth, and given the critical nature of proceeding without legal counsel, I would strongly encourage someone of this board to bring that back for reconsideration.
Being on the losing side of that vote, I would agree and concur. And I'd also mention that we have a different motion on the table, which is really inconsequential with 8.6 failing.
Yep.
But I would recommend we dispose of 8.11. And then
9/11?
Yeah, 8.11 is that's the motion we have on the table right now, and the motion is the second.
It's 9/11, but, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
9.11, I'm sorry, thank you.
That's fine.
9.11 is the motion that's on the table right now, and then at any point prior to adjournment, should one of those members who voted in the negatory on 8.6 choose to make a motion to consider, that would be in order at any point. But is there any other discussion on 9.11? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that motion carries. That brings us to 9.12, designate official school paper. Member Christensen.
I have some questions about that.
Oh, we do not have a motion on the table. Would you like to make one?
Motion 9.12 to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Member Christensen.
Well, I see 9.12 is the designation of an official school newspaper. And I see here that it says the Twin Cities Pioneer Press, and it says, see enclosed quote from Twin Cities Pioneer Press. Did we get a quote from the Forest Lake Times? Because it says, see enclosed quote. So I'm wondering, do we have a quote from the Forest Lake Times, so we have something to compare it to?
I believe administration did.
We do,
It
yeah,
is
we
not
do.
as part of the packet. I do not believe I have that with me here.
I do have that information if the board desires that information.
I would like that information, please.
Okay, so the, Mr. Chair,
Yeah, this is going to be, how do we share this out?
I can certainly share the quote numbers for the board.
Comparatively.
Sure, do we have somebody in administration that can make copies? Because
I just need
if the board, do you just want?
I just want the numbers. I just want,
Specific numbers? Okay.
I mean,
Because these are pretty detailed quotes.
Yeah, let me share the numbers and then I'll ask Joy to make quick copies for us.
Okay.
The quote from the Forest Lake Times is $6.50 on a 7-point font and 9 lines per inch. The quote for the Pioneer Press is $9.12 per 6-point font and 13 lines per inch. My analysis would say that the Pioneer Press provides a third more space, and the Times is a third less cost, therefore offsetting the difference for very comparable quotes.
and
In my analysis.
Can I just ask a follow-up question then? Again, was this a decision administration recommended then, or where did this decision come from?
I can defer to the chair.
I recommended this change.
You alone recommended this change?
On my proposed agenda, I recommended this change.
Okay, so we're going to go away from our local community newspaper that lets our superintendent have a column monthly for free, lets our principals rotate a column monthly for free, that covers all of our local sports, our high schools, our choirs. We're moving away from that. And maybe you could expound upon that a little bit more, Member Chair. What is, I'd like to hear some reasons.
My thought process for this, yeah, and this is actually, I'm disappointed we were unable to schedule a meeting this year because this is something we could have discussed.
Okay, can I time
several
out
months
for
ago.
1 second there? Member Rebeline, you emailed me to ask me to meet in person, to which I replied that I was not interested in meeting in person. However, I would be available anytime for a phone call when we could find a time to meet. I emailed you that response on December 28th, and you did not reply at all. So please do not give people the false impression that I am unable or unwilling to meet with you. That is not true.
Okay. We'll leave that for interpretation. My recommendation is that we move to the Pioneer Press, and that was in the proposed agenda for the following reasons. One, the Forest Lake Times is no longer a local newspaper to Forest Lake area schools. They have moved to Stillwater, which is no longer in the school district. Two, the Pioneer Press has a larger circulation than the Forest Lake Times. Therefore, we will be better informing our public about the official notifications that we need to send out. Three, the Pioneer Press offers more opportunities to publish notices and therefore gives us more flexibility on when those notices are published, how they're published, and to help us meet notification requirements as stated by law. And four, on a cost per issue for our public, the Pioneer Press has a lower cost per issue.
Thank you.
Those were the factors that went into my consideration when I put together the proposed agenda for this evening. Is there any other discussion? Member Tyson?
Yes, so again, this is not transparent at all. I think we're going to have community members, parents, district-wide, that this isn't going to land well. Did you look up subscriptions, Member Chair, on how many parents district-wide get subscriptions to the Times over the years and cut out the clippings from their students' sports activity or cut out pictures that are in there?
I think there's a misunderstanding on what the official newspaper bid is. This is for legal notices. This isn't for,
That is-
the Forest Lake Times doesn't cover our sports. The Forest Lake Times, we have them here this evening. The Forest Lake Times can still attend our meetings just like any newspaper in the state of Minnesota could. This is for official notices such as the board meeting is at such and such a time. We have a legal notice for,
I
we're
understand
going to
all of
hire an
that.
individual. This is not
Yeah, and
a PR type of a topic. This is we need to just designate an official newspaper to meet our legal obligation per state statute.
right, and so I clearly understand what you're saying, but it's still heavy-handed. It's not transparent to our community of Forest Lake Area School district-wide parents. I also think that it's a disservice to our paper, who's done a great job over many, 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 many years. We used to do press publications, and they were in White Bear Lake afterward. So I don't get your comparison. We're going to have a metro paper, even though we're up here in the North Metro. And, you know, granted, Mary Devine does an excellent job, but that is not reporting on, you know, our events and activities. And yeah, they still can, right? The Forest Lake Times,
Again,
but
this is
this sounds very heavy-handed, unexpected, and poorly communicated.
This is for legal notifications, and it's
No.
not a reflection on any of the work that any of the reporters do.
I don't agree, and I think you would have been more transparent, and you're all about surveys, so I think a survey would have been great to our community.
Is there any other discussion on this item?
Well, I'd like to make a motion to reinstate the Forest Lake Times, or at least,
You have a motion on the table, do you not?
We have a motion on the table to approve the Pioneer Press as the official newspaper. A motion to reinstate would,
yeah, you're
That's-
just rude.
I'm not following what your motion is.
Yeah, I think you know what it is. I think you know that we should at least have two as a competitive comparison. I think throwing in the Metro Pioneer Press is a little bit non-transparent to our community. I'm sure I'm going to get some calls about it, and I think you know
I believe
that we
Member
should
Tyson-
somehow reinstate, have a motion to reinstate.
I believe, Member Tyson, there's only two newspapers that meet the circulation requirements to fulfill the statutory requirement. Those are the Pioneer Press and the Forest Lake Times. I could be mistaken on that. The St. Paul Pioneer, or the Minneapolis Star Tribune might also meet the circulation requirements, but I could not say for sure.
They would need their main office bordering one of our,
Well, isn't it in Iowa now? Didn't they just move to Iowa?
some of their printing
Yeah.
operation has,
Okay.
but their main office needs to border one of our
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so,
serving counties, so I don't know that the Star Tribune would meet that. I'd have to do more research.
okay, so as far as we know, these are the only two options that we have.
So real quick, can I say one more thing? I mean, whether, like you said, it is notices, but I think it's just the optics of how we're handling
Exactly.
it. And saying that it's not our designated paper for our own community. I mean, that's really hard to swallow. So,
It is.
and like you say, it is for, I would like to, yeah, I mean, I can't really support that. I really am struggling with that. I just don't think it's appropriate, so, yeah.
All right, do we have any additional discussion on this topic? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Oh,
What are we voting on
Okay.
her?
no,
What are we doing?
the motion to reinstate, well, it failed due to lack of a second, but I'm not quite sure it was in order anyhow. So a vote in the affirmative
games
is
people
to
play.
accept the quote from the Pioneer Press. A vote in the negatory is not to accept the Pioneer Press. And like I stated earlier, we're required by state statute to have an official newspaper. I don't know if there's a period in time that we can go without an official newspaper. Just want to throw that out there before we vote.
More tricks.
So, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
All right, motion fails. We'll figure out what we do without an official school newspaper. That brings us to school board committee assignments. I've gone through the surveys that I was provided and the committee assignments for the 2026. 5 o'clock committees, buildings and grounds, member Christensen and member Tyson. Curriculum, instruction, and equity, member Castle and the vacant seat. Staff welfare, member Corcoran and member Antonsen. The 6 o'clock committees, communications, member Tyson and member Christensen. Finance, member Corcoran and member Castle. Policy, member Antonsen and the vacant seat. And like in 2025, the board chair will float. As long as the vacancy remains in the board, the board chair will fill that assignment unless another committee warrants additional board representation due to an absence or
Could I make
a priority assignment. We don't have a motion on the table yet. I would accept a motion to approve the committee assignments.
Move to approve.
Okay, we have a
Second.
motion and a second. Member Christensen.
I did not get my first or second, or I don't even know, probably third committee assignment that I had requested. So I would be interested to see the pieces of paper that we all turned in. And again, were these were just made by you, Chair Rebline, these assignments?
Per policy, the board chair makes those recommendations. I do have, I'm trying to remember if I kept the surveys or if I recycled them earlier.
It would be helpful if you kept them. I don't know, did Joy keep any copies? Of course, yeah. Convenient that there aren't any copies and that you didn't save the copies, but I've already served on the communications committee, and yeah, yeah.
Member Corcoran.
So you're going to put member Antonsen on policy with the vacant person who we are not sure when that person might even get seated.
And as I stated, I will fill the vacancy spot until a member is selected. I looked very closely at the 3 individuals that are possibilities to fill the vacant seat as early as next, or 2 or 3 weeks from now. And I looked at the committees that they have served on themselves and was trying to create a soft landing for them so they would come into an area of familiarity, being a new board member. So that was the purpose behind the assignment for the vacancies.
I understand that maybe you would want to do that, but I mean, there's 3 of them and we don't even know which one would be chosen to sort of save some sort of spot.
Correct. And all 3 of them actually have some commonalities as far as committees that they've served on in the past or committees that they're interested in.
Wow, so it feels to me like, just to concur with Member Christensen, I didn't get the committees I wanted either. And I've already been on communications, and you're putting me there again. So this is just you not facilitating in all of our best interests. It's doing what you want to do with committee placement. So just want to make that known.
The committee surveys under advisement. Again, I requested meetings with all board members. I met with them. I discussed their preferences, and not everybody can get their first choice on everything.
I didn't even get my second choice or my third choice. And again, to reiterate, I said I would not meet with you in person, but I said I'd be happy to meet with you on the phone. So I don't think you can keep saying that I refuse to meet with you.
Is there any other discussion on the committee assignments?
I'm really struggling with the policy. I mean, that is a very crucial committee, and by having Member Christensen not on there, because she's been serving on that committee and has firsthand knowledge of all the policies going on and what they're reviewing, I think at least she should be on there. I'm really struggling with having nobody. I mean, I know you'll fill, but you also float. So it's not like you're going to be at that meeting every time. So to have only one, I think you at least need to have a second. I think you should reconsider that placement.
I certainly can attend policy every time until we have the vacancy filled. That is not a problem, especially with yourself and Member Castle at Finance. That's the policy, or that's the committee that I've floated to most regularly.
Okay, well,
all right.
not agreeing.
Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Okay, we have no policy assignments for board members then. Moving forward.
Yep, another
Was that a
gotcha.
vote- Point
Gotcha
of
moment.
clarification, was that a vote on all committees or just policy?
That was a vote on all committees.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So no board members are assigned to any committees
So
moving
immature.
forward. That brings us to action items and donations. Member Castle.
I need to pull it back.
Okay. $1,252.50 from FLDT Booster Club to the FLAS 25-26 dance team uniforms. $1,045.25 to FVE PTA. I'm not up on all these acronyms. I know what PTA is. The FEE grades K-2-3 field trip costs. $1,002.51 from Mark Castle to the FLAS Teaching and Learning Department, Academics and Learning. $623.50 from Blue Line Club to the FLAS Boys Hockey Coach Bus to Rochester. $500 from Drolson Family Foundation for FLA-SCE Outdoor Recreation Project. $500 from Brad Peterson Construction to FLA-SCE Ranger Space Camp. $500 from Lino Lakes PTO to Lino Lakes Elementary second grade field trip to the Minnesota Zoo. $100 from Forest Lake Walmart to FLAS SAD, the Little Debbie's Day. $100 from Hugo American Legion Post 620 to FLAS FFA Chapter Student Organization account for a grand total of $16,423.76. And with great appreciation, I motion to approve.
Second, so moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the donations. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, Member Clerk, will you please take the roll call?
Member Castle.
Abstain.
Member Christensen.
Aye.
Member Rebeline.
Aye.
Member Antonsen votes aye. Member Corcoran.
Aye.
Member Tyson.
Aye.
And the ayes have it.
All right, motion carries.
Nice job, Mark.
Brings us to item 7.2, Forest Lake Area School Staff Retirement Notice. Member Castle.
Class retirement notifications. The following Forest Lake school staff have submitted their intent to retire. Kimberly Johnson Calhoun from SAC, classified substitute district wide, effective 10/30/2025, following 10 years of service. Recommendation, administration recommends the approval of the staff retirements with gratitude. I added the with gratitude.
I'd entertain a motion to approve.
A motion, so moved.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion carries. Brings us to 10.3, sorry. I don't want to go back. 10.3, resolution directing superintendent and administration to make recommendations for reductions in positions, programs, and services and reasons therefore for 2026-2027. Dr. Massey.
The board's approval of this resolution is related to Minnesota statute as it relates to the potentiality of making unrequested leaves of absences for continuing contract status teachers. We begin this process, as I mentioned earlier, each winter. The administrators and principals will have a series of meetings to review projected student enrollment, teacher retirements, resignations, and leaves of absences, programs and services, anticipated class sizes, staffing levels, and the projected budget and finances for the next school year. To begin this process, we would ask the board to approve this resolution of directing the superintendent and administration to make recommendations for the reduction in positions, programs, and services and reasons therefore for the 2026-2027 school year.
Move to approve 10.3.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Member Clerk, please take the roll call.
Member Tyson?
Aye.
Member Corcoran?
Aye.
Member Christensen?
Hi.
Member Antonsen votes aye. Member Castle?
Aye.
And Member Rebbeline?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
All right, 10.4, Administrator Code of Ethics Policy 1306, Dr. Massey.
Purpose of this policy is to establish the requirements of the school board that school administrators adhere to the standards of ethics and professional conduct in this policy and accordance with Minnesota law. You'll notice, looking for your approval tonight, is the language underlined in this policy related to the disciplinary actions. Violations of this code of conduct will be subject to disciplinary action in accordance with Minnesota Statute 122.40, subdivision 9, depending on the severity and recurrence of the offense. That language is consistent with other code of conduct disciplinary actions in statute related to other employment positions. Administration recommends your approval.
Move to approve 10.4.
Second?
All right, motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion carries. 10.5, School Weapons Policy 1501, which was previously 532. Dr. Massey.
Purpose of this policy is to assure a safe school environment for students, staff, and the public. You'll see the recommended changes from the policy committee. One in relation to the definition of dangerous weapon. There's a list of different exceptions that are identified new to this policy. And with those changes, administration would recommend your approval.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that motion carries. Brings us to new business 11.1, first reading drug-free workplace, drug-free school policy 435. Dr. Massey.
The upcoming new policies for new readings, I should say, are not requiring board action tonight, but a presentation for your consideration at the next meeting. The purpose of this policy is to maintain a safe and healthy environment for employees and students by prohibiting the use of alcohol, toxic substances, medical cannabis, non-intoxicating cannabinoids, edible cannabinoid products, and controlled substances without a physician's prescription. I'll point out the changes recommended by the policy committee are on page 3 of the policy in the exceptions section. I would ask that you review those prior to the next meeting, and we'll seek your approval at that time.
All right, 11.2, first reading student medication policy 516.
You can see the purpose. I won't read that long paragraph there, but we're looking to add language in this policy related to the delivery systems as it relates to EpiPens, really updating the language from auto injectors to delivery systems and spelling out some specificity around that definition.
All right, 11.3, first reading public participation in school board meeting policy 1206.
And the
Dr.
purpose
Massey.
of this policy is to provide procedures to assure open and orderly public discussion, as well as to protect due process and privacy rights of individuals under the law. This would be a new policy brought to our list of different policies. I would ask the board for, or for the policy committee to have further discussion on item section 6, item 7, where it indicates, section 6, item A, where it's indicating persons who wish to have a subject discussed at a public school board meeting. It indicates that the public would need to get that item to the board a week in advance. It's unclear to me in this section whether that's an agenda item or an interest in bringing a public comment through green card. So I think this policy would be well served for clarification in that section. Or are we referring to adding agenda items or bringing a topic for public comment?
So
Yeah.
that's an excellent point. Seeing that we did not establish any committee assignments, we do not have any committee meetings, so I won't make a motion to commit. But we can put this on the January 22nd meeting agenda for discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Member Castle?
This is outside the green card.
To me, that's
This
what it
is to
but-
replace the legacy green card
Oh.
process, yeah. So we'll schedule that for discussion, but not approval on January 22nd, so that we can address the point that Dr. Massey made. I think that's incredibly valuable, and yeah, disappointing we don't have a committee to send it to.
So, Member Chair?
Yes,
Could I'm
That's on-
I'm making a motion to rescind 8.6 or reconsider?
Reconsider
Bring it
eight.
back to reconsider.
Second.
We need to- Yeah, we need to have legal counsel.
okay, we have a motion and a second to reconsider 8.6. Is there
Yep.
any discussion on the motion to reconsider? All right, seeing none, I'm going to clarify this quick, or do you have a comment on 8.6?
Well, I don't know what your plans are right now, but I'm not ready to vote on this again. I mean, I knew what I was voting for. I understood that it is obviously terrible to not have legal counsel. I understand that. But I also don't think that the chair can determine going against administration recommendation. So I would propose that if there is a problem with Kennedy Graber, can we at least add, whatever the other one
Yeah.
is?
That's not germane to the motion to reconsider. The motion that's on the table right now is to reconsider 8.6. I will add, if we do reconsider, the amendments have already failed, that's done. So the reconsideration would be as proposed. Member Tyson?
So I just want to add that, and I concur with Member Christensen, that this is heavy-handed. This has been directed by you, and I want you to know.
Member Tyson, is this germane to the motion to reconsider?
Yes, it is germane, because
Okay.
it isn't a
Please
gotcha
continue.
moment, because we didn't collaborate as board members. This was solely by you, and this is on you, not me. You will take responsibility for not having counsel, because of the way you handled bringing this around.
Member Tyson, I voted in favor of that. We have a motion on the table to reconsider. Is there any additional discussion on the motion to reconsider? Okay, a yes vote on the motion to reconsider will bring the original motion back to the board. A no vote will leave things as is with the motion failing. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, the motion to reconsider passes, which brings 8.6 back up for consideration. Appointment of school district legal counsel as presented. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any additional discussion?
Well, but I brought it back to, because we cannot not have a legal. We gotta have, I mean, if something comes up and we have nobody, we can't put the district in harm's way. It just isn't the right fiduciary responsibility. I'm not happy that we took the other two out, but we have to have some legal representation. We have to have something.
And the whole
So-
process was
I agree.
botched.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm gonna have to support this, even though I'm not happy about it. So that's just what I have to do, so. It's the right thing to do. I guess I'm not happy about it. I think we need bigger law firms to represent our we have a big district with a lot of, we have a lot of things that come up, and I don't know if these we'll have to research, because we're gonna need a bigger law firm. We can't just have these, so. But for right now, we need to have something, so.
I agree.
I propose a motion to amend the motion as presented to add the stipulation to direct the chair and the vice chair to work with administration to find another legal representative.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? on
Will you
the
repeat
amendment?
that, please?
The motion to amend is to direct the chair and the vice chair to work with administration to find another representative to add to the list. That could be one of the individuals, or one of the firms that was listed in prior years. It could be a new firm. It could be just about anybody. Is there any discussion on the motion to amend?
Can I ask, is there a deadline for that? When will you, I mean, because that's something that could be punted down the road, you know, for 6 months or something. Is that a timely?
There's no deadline in the motion that I made. You can make a motion to amend the amendment to add a deadline, but there was no deadline in the motion that I made.
I have
Member
a
Tyson.
question. I'm curious, where will you find your legal firms to consider? Where will you gather that information, the two of you?
Can I speak to that? I would
Please.
love to work with administration, Dr. Massey, and the current legal teams, and work that through and try to get a good legal firm. And we'll get administration recommendation. And I think we should do it sooner than later, maybe by even within the next month.
I would agree with that. I feel like it should be something that we should address
Yes.
with urgency. And I would concur with your directive that we essentially direct administration to find recommended firms. And we work through the interviewing process, because interviewing a firm is a two-way street to make sure that we get the right representative.
And so just to confirm, is that an official timeline then of 1 month?
Not without an amendment to the amendment.
Right, which we're going to do.
I would like to make amendment to the amendment that within a month from now, what is today, January 8th, by February 8th, at least one more law firm that administration is recommending, not someone that we choose, but working with administration, that there's another name added to this list by a month from now, February 8th.
Second.
I don't know if it's in order, but I would ask if that could be by the next board meeting in February
fifth.
versus.
Yes, fine.
Well, it'd be February 5th, so the 8th
Yes.
would.
I'll amend, February 5th.
February 5th, by the next, yeah.
Okay, I did not hear a second to the motion.
Gail
Second.
seconded it. Member Tyson seconded it.
Okay, this is where I'm going to cringe. I deliberately did not hear a second, because we needed to tweak the motion to amend. So it's not in order to make a motion to amend an amendment of an amendment. So the amendment that we have on the table now is to set a deadline of February 8th. I agree with Dr. Massey that it should be February 5th. So I'm going to advise we vote against the amendment to the amendment, so we can bring it back and correct it.
Just a point of order, I think
Yeah.
Dr. Massey said by the next board meeting. He was
he-
hoping.
I meant in February.
He meant that.
Oh,
board meeting
okay.
in February,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Need some
let me
time.
please ask my fellow board members,
It's,
please
it-
vote against.
actually, pardon me, it's February 12th, because we've got the conference
It is.
conflict. So thank you,
Oh, so-
audience, for that.
The 8th is
Appreciate
fine
that.
then.
So
Yeah,
is
so the 8th works.
Is the 8th,
Okay, good, we'll leave it there.
fine, if so, we have a motion and a second for the 8th.
Okay, let's just leave it at
And-
that.
Okay, so the motion and the second is to set a deadline for myself and Member Corcoran and administration to bring another firm back to the board for consideration at what would be the February 12th meeting.
Yep.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, the amendment to the amendment passes. That brings us back to the original amendment being that it would be a directive to myself and Member Corcoran to work with administration to find another possible law firm that we can bring back to the board for consideration. And our due date would be the 8th, so it'd be back for consideration by February 12th. Is there any discussion on the amendment?
I have a clarifying question.
Yes.
I heard you say that another firm would come back to the board for further discussion. I thought we're agreeing that between Member Rebeline, Member Corcoran, and administration, they're going to choose one, which will bring it back to us, which we will approve. I don't want to be back in this situation on February 12th or whenever it is with administration recommending another law firm, to which we all vote that person down. So I would like it to say, Member Rebline, Member Corcoran, and administration will amongst themselves decide, recommend, and it will bring forward to the board for, not even for approval, like, not even for discussion, like, we're gonna do it.
No, I understand the concern, but Member Corcoran and I lack the authority to make a decision for the full board.
Okay, so then can we amongst ourselves right now, just sort of, what's the word I'm looking, just,
Authorize?
Can you delegate that
informally,
authority?
can we designate that authority? Because I'm afraid what's gonna happen is the same situation. We recommend X, Y, Z, to which the board will vote it down and we'll be in the same situation. So I trust administration, and I would like to make a motion or whatever I need to do to authorize them to make the decision for us, since we've already decided, or we have some other ones here. I don't want to be back in this situation on February 12th, so whatever we need to do to alleviate that.
I understand the concern, I understand the question. I don't know, quite honestly, if the board has the legal authority to grant even 2 board members with that level of authority, where we can make that level of a decision.
We could recommend,
We
and
can
then we
make-
just, and they just
correct,
have to
we
vote
can
yes.
make a recommendation.
Okay, and
That's what you mean.
truly, you can recommend and we can vote on it, but I guess what I would like to say is, can I look my fellow board members in the eye, and can we say as much as possible that we would vote yes, so that we do not find I see Member Castle shaking his head, Member Antonsen, thank you, that's what I'm looking for. I
Okay.
don't want to be back in the same position, so, you know, assuming it's a reputable firm, assuming the administration recommends it, assuming those things, I would like to feel confident that we are going to agree on that at the next meeting, because it's obviously very important to have.
Member Castle.
With the extra days from the 8th to the 12th, that we should at least get notified of the selection.
Yes.
Then
Do
we
your
would have,
research.
all the board members would have time to look into any concerns that they might have for a particular law firm.
And I would add to that, Member Castle, that typically the proposed board agenda is made available to all members by the week prior to the meeting. The way that these days fall, it would be Friday the 6th. Since the 8th is a Sunday, I suspect that we would make our decision by Friday the 6th. So, although I can't commit to having it on the proposed agenda just because it might take, that extra day or two, we can certainly try to have it there. And I have a lot of confidence that if myself and Member Corcoran are in agreement, that the full board will probably be in agreement as well. So, Member Antonsen, did you have something, or should I go to Member Tyson?
No, go to Member
Okay, Member
Tyson.
Tyson.
So that, given Member Castle's comment, that leads me to concur with Member Christensen that, are we going to trust our board members, the vice chair and the chair, and the administration to do this process so we don't come back and are in the same boat? Or are we going to have time to pick it apart and?
Well, my
find whatever?
concern, Member Tyson, going back, is I don't know if we have that legal authority. I've never looked into that question.
So you're gonna-
Can a board of directors grant a single member or a pair of members with the legal authority to make a decision of that magnitude? I don't know the answer to that question.
I would recommend that the chair and vice chair not be given the authority to make that call.
Right. but-
What I can commit to is providing a thorough, comprehensive service, getting that out to you as soon as possible, possibly even before the agenda is presented to you on the 6th, where we can take questions and any comments, but it's probably straightforward. There aren't a ton of firms out there remaining, so we're really looking at 2 or 3.
And I would make the commitment too, that if this is ready by the 16th, which I recognize is only 8 days away, but this process may go quickly, that I would commit to adding it to the proposed agenda for the 22nd so that we can get it done as expediently as possible. I think we have a shared interest in doing that. Member Christensen.
I have a question, just going back to Kennedy and Graber, so if there's any work that they're working on for us currently? How does that work? Like, are they allowed to
This is only
finish
for,
or
yeah,
whatever
this is only
they're
for
doing?
future engagements. Yeah,
Okay, so whatever they're,
Any in-flight activities would not be affected by this.
I'm just thinking of costs, if we had to get another firm up to speed on some, I mean, that would be
Yeah,
a lot of
and
money.
from a cost standpoint to all of our attorneys, none of them work on retainer. We don't have any costs for retainers. It's simply an hourly charge that we see on board bills.
To
Yeah,
that-
Member Tyson.
To that point, then, Kennedy and Graven and Ratwig, they'll be notified, I assume after this meeting.
Yes, we'll notify.
Okay.
All right, so the motion that's on the table, if I'm tracking this correctly, and hopefully I am here, is still for the amendment to direct myself and Member Corcoran to direct the chair and the vice chair to work with administration to find an additional law firm to be presented to the board and to complete that work by February 8th. Is there any questions or any more discussion on that amendment? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that amendment carries, which brings us back to the amended 8.6. Is there any additional discussion on that? All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
I'm sorry,
Are you on the
will you read?
reconsideration?
Yes.
Yes, we're on the reconsideration of 8.6.
Okay.
It has now been amended to direct myself and Member Corcoran to find another law firm that we can bring forward for consideration.
The amendment that you just said is what the other motion that we voted down is scratched. This is this language is brand new.
No, so 8.6 as presented in the board packet has been amended to include the directive to
That's my
myself
question,
and Member
yes.
Corcoran and administration to bring another law firm forward by February 8th.
And
Member Tyson.
I would just like it noted that we want that law firm to be a comprehensive law firm like the two that got deleted.
Yeah, a general
General
counsel.
representation.
Yes, a
Right.
general counsel.
Okay.
think
And
I
I
would-
also heard Chair Redline say law firm, just singular. Could it be plural if that?
It could be,
so
I think it could be plural.
Could be
Yeah,
two.
Yeah, I'm looking over at Member
Yeah,
Corcoran
could
here
be
because
two.
this is kind of getting ahead of ourselves here, but I think both of us have a feeling that we would like to kind of follow administration, see where they lead us, see
Yep, yep.
what needs we have, what holes we would need to fill. And if it takes 2 or 3 law firms, we'll bring that for consideration to the board. I think that feels appropriate.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, any other discussion on this? Or do we have it pretty well solidified what we're voting on? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that motion carries. All right, which brings us to 11.4, strategic plan discussion. This is just an open discussion. There was no recommendations here. If we go all the way back to, gosh, was it September, October? That time frame, we were talking about what we're going to do with the strategic plan that literally just expired this month and how we're going to carry that forward. It was myself, Member Christensen, and Member Antonsen were on a subcommittee to make recommendations to the board on how to carry forward. I believe when we ended that subcommittee, the recommendation by the subcommittee, and please correct me, committee members, if I'm wrong, was to advise that the board work with MSBA for a facilitated board self-evaluation. Am I remembering that correctly?
I think that's where the work was kind of supposed to start.
And I think that's kind of where we stopped. So I think the subcommittee recommendation would be that we would direct administration to get that scheduled for us as soon as possible. Or do we want to go another direction? This is an open discussion. What do you think, Member
Well,
Cochran?
I think the most critical thing is we have our superintendent search discussion. I think that is more critical.
That will
timely.
follow that
I know,
form?
but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if you're looking at the two important things of our work, that the strategic plan is, to me, secondary
Yeah.
to getting that done. I mean, just with our time. Our
Okay.
time is limited, as we all have busy lives, and I just think we need to focus on
that first. I mean, I don't want to get us out of order, but that's what I'm worried about.
Would you like to move to postpone 11.4 to follow 11.5?
Yes, I would. Could I do that? Yeah.
Absolutely you can, yeah.
Make
We
a
just-
motion to,
Okay, so we have a motion from Member Corcoran to move 11.4 to follow 11.5 via postponement. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the postponement? We're basically just kind of flipping the order of 11.4 and 11.5. That feels fine to me.
So I just wanted to add that in my notes that I looked back on when this was on the agenda previously, that it said that we were going to wait until we hired a superintendent. So again, I concur with Member Corcoran, let's get that process flowing and get that done. We have had applications in somewhere around here that we haven't even seen, so I concur that the strategic plan could wait. It just, we talked about updates in my notes, not anything
Sure.
having to be completely redesigned.
Member Atkinson?
I agree with what you're saying. It's how I remembered it too, was that we were gonna kind of wait, and that it could wait, the work can wait, because the strategic plan isn't going anywhere. We
It
can still-
continues, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
we're still working on
and,
it.
but that doesn't mean we couldn't, okay, so I don't even remember the date, July 1st, I mean, it's 6 months away. So and I think they're planning out for the strategic plan offerings, we're months away too, so it's not, we could still plan to do that if that's what we decided to do. So I don't think it's, like, we
Yeah.
have to totally not talk about it at all.
No, I agree.
Okay, so like, we
Yes.
could plan to do this board self-evaluation over the summer, you know, after we've worked as a board of 6, or maybe we have a new person and they're here
Correct.
too, and figure out when we're gonna do the self-evaluation thing. But because I think it's months out
Yeah.
that they can do it.
Yeah, I think if we don't try scheduling anything in too tight and really focus our priority on the superintendent search, we'd be okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
Let's-
So-
Is there any other discussion on the motion to postpone 11.4 to follow 11.5?
Well,
If
can we
not,
table
let's-
it for the next meeting, maybe even, or I don't?
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that too. But we do have a motion to postpone on the table, so we didn't need to dispose of that first.
Okay, I'd be okay with tabling, so we could just say no to the,
Okay, why don't we amend the motion to postpone and to read that we're going to postpone it until January 22nd?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Now the motion to the amendment to the motion to postpone would be that we readdress the strategic plan discussion on the 22nd, and we move on.
what do you guys
So
think?
I'm confused because we just talked about not bunching it up together. And now we have it on for the next meeting. Correct?
Just a discussion on, how we're going to proceed.
Right, but again,
Rather than discussing it, once we would dispose of this, if this amendment were to pass, and then the motion to postpone were to pass, then rather than discussing the strategic plan discussion right immediately after the superintendent discussion, we would just discuss it in a couple of weeks instead. Does that make sense? It's probably not even
It's,
honestly
mean-
necessary, because I can put it on the
Yeah.
proposed agenda or not. This would just be a directive for me to absolutely include it on the proposed agenda.
and just reiterating that the priority is the superintendent search, which has been delayed for a while now.
Yep.
I agree.
Okay, keeping that top of mind.
Okay, so the motion that's on the table is an amendment to postpone until the next board meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, so now the motion to postpone is for the next board meeting, so for the fun procedural stuff, if there's no more discussion on that, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, so we're going to move that to the next board meeting, which brings us to 11.5, the superintendent search discussion. As Member Tyson just indicated, that's been on hold for a while. She also mentioned that we do have a number of applications. I've noted in several board meetings previously that the applications did end up in my inbox. I deliberately did not look at them. I filtered them out. But I did have an applicant or two directly apply to me. My thought on the process is that we should open that up to the board, we should start reviewing, we should start doing some work and see where we sit. What do other board members think?
So from those original applications that came in, how many, 3 months ago? Or how many?
Was it November?
November, was it? October?
November and December.
So nobody has withdrawn from that?
Not that
That
I'm
we're
aware
aware
of.
of, okay.
But I have not had Human Resources check in with them to see if they're still interested. I will note that I agree with you. I think we need to start discussing this because I do see other school districts are openly advertising for superintendents.
They
and,
definitely are. How many
Yeah.
are there? How many applicants are in?
I
Since
do
we
not-
weren't allowed to see them, I'm
I do
just
not know
curious.
off the top of my head. I will look at, there are, okay, so there are, hang on, this is not, there are 23 messages in my folder for superintendent. Not all of them are applications, though. Some of them are community members sharing opinions. Some of them are, so there's probably 15 or 20 in here.
So I'm curious, did they get transferred to our HR department, or they're still in your?
No, they, so most of the
Where are they?
applicants applied through our human resources system. But
Okay.
since my name, and I don't recall if Member Hagelin's name was on there or not, but since my name was part of the application, it was in the HR system, I got a forward. I didn't see resumes. All I got
Okay.
was an individual has applied to your job. It's one of those notifications, somebody clicked on it and showed interest.
Because I know
So-
it came into one day to review them all and wasn't allowed to.
Yeah,
You
because
did?
the board is
Yeah.
not open to that. We as a board need to open that, the applications for review.
Okay.
So like I said, I haven't looked at them either. I can't tell you of the 15 or 20 that are in here, how many represent real live humans and how many represent, apply bots or, people clicking on things that aren't qualified. I couldn't say that unless we opened it up for review.
Can I ask
Like
a
I stated, I do have 1 or 2 names that apply to me directly rather than through the HR system, so I need to get those into to Donna so she could share those with the board as well.
Okay,
Yeah, Member
one
Atkinson.
follow-up, sorry.
Oh.
So are those available for me to come in and see that were available in November,
If the board,
if we move forward?
yeah, if
Okay,
the
they
board
are.
opens that up for review, which I think is a really good
Okay.
idea, then yes, so Member Atkinson.
Are we done taking applications, or is that still open?
Applications at the moment are closed. The board only
Okay.
authorized the application process to be open until sometime in early December.
Okay.
So the applications that we have right now are static, and they came in during that month and a half period.
So my thoughts are that we all take a look at these as soon as we
Yeah.
can, and decide, maybe there's a person in there that the majority or people are all for, and we want to just move forward with that, or we do this. So,
Yeah.
but we would be able to decide.
I think it would be smart to at least take a look at the applicants that we have and decide what we want to do. Member Corcoran?
Okay, so I did send out the MSBA proposal. I know, I'm sorry, I've had it a while, and I just sent it out now. Joy gave us copies.
Yes, thank you.
But I believe that, I do agree we should look at them, but I also believe we need, since this is new for a lot of people, this is such an important hire, that we need to have an outside, at least
Oh,
a service
yeah.
help us
Okay.
through the process. And
So-
I get, looking at the applications as a starting point, but then having some guidance to help us through the rest of the steps is really important. I don't think we need the full search, but maybe a partial kind of
That's what
a la carte
Yeah.
kind of situation with MSBA.
Yeah, and that's
to
kind of
help
what I
us.
was meaning too,
Yes.
is if there's a overwhelmingly, let's certainly go this direction candidate, then we wouldn't need the entirety of their.
Yeah, I agree. And
okay.
and it could save us money too.
Yeah.
I don't believe we need the full search, but I believe that we need some guidance
Yeah.
and some tools to work with.
Yeah, so there's a lot in here, but.
There is,
a lot
I
of-
know. It's a
A
big-
lot of help.
Yeah, and to that point, Member Corcoran shared that with us via email. I did have Joy printed off for all of us, so everybody has a physical copy at their seat, so we'd be able to review it over the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
I think that would make sense as well. Member Castle?
So, point of inquiry, we will each be able to look at them individually once we open that up?
Correct. We just need a motion to make that happen, and I'm happy to put that together and offer it out to the board, because it seems like we have strong interest in that. Member Christensen?
I would kind of like to back this up a little bit. There's a lot of rules that need to be followed and employment law things. I'm not really sure. So I'm not sure that we're just going to open up the applications that we have right now and just kind of look at them and I'm worried that we might, do something wrong or some confidentiality thing. There's rules of how to do these things. So I would maybe say, let's get whatever we're going to do from MSBA, this partial help, a la carte, whatever we decide on, hold the fort on the applications until we can get somebody in here to say, this is what you do, you can only look at them, excuse me, and, you can't make copy, blah, 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 whatever you're supposed to do. There's rules and regulations to follow. I'm concerned that we just kind of open it up and start looking at them willy-nilly. We could get ourselves in a little bit of trouble. So I think we should kind of back it all the way up, decide what we're going to do here, hold the applications. I would even say, perhaps, it's been a few months now, perhaps maybe the person's already in there. We don't know, but I'm just saying maybe there's some new person who would be really great, whose situation has changed or whatever. I mean, open up the applications again with help from this person. This person might say, you got to put the application in this place and this and this, this places, wherever superintendent cert people who are looking for that kind of a job would go. Because I think before it was just maybe just only to our website, if that is correct. I mean, I feel like we might need to broaden that, open it up, whatever websites somebody might recommend, and then kind of go more into the process. We're already kind of behind we're delayed in this situation, but I don't think right now quick hurry rush is going to help us. I think let's just back it up, make sure that we're doing it right, back it up a little bit to go forward. That's what I think.
Member Tyson?
So I think I brought to the meeting that Barb Dorn, that's who Julie's working with from MSBA, who sent this. There's also a new virtual kind of spelling out what Member Corcoran's talking about, just a virtual half hour where she talks about you're starting a superintendent search, this is the proper and legal way to start it.
Yep.
So we could do that and then start on our process of maybe opening up applications again, looking at the ones we have, but she could do that short virtual thing with us, or maybe we do it individually. I'm not sure. We'd have to check into that.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
But I also am curious with looking at the prices, and Julie was recommending the limited search. Do we have any search dollars left with 916? They have paid for one in the past, or was it a survey that they paid for?
They pay for a survey, community survey. I don't know that they pay for the superintendent
searches?
search.
Okay. Thank you. I couldn't remember what they exactly paid for.
But I can reach out to Barb, too.
Yeah,
I
ask
think
her
the
about-
virtual is really a good idea, just to have a starting point.
Right.
Would that be a
Yeah.
presentation with the board then?
I don't know yet.
I
Because I've-
have it at home, Julie,
Okay.
so I can forward it to you.
Oh, that would be
Because I
good.
did talk
'Cause
to
I-
The
Barb.
link to their,
Yeah, well, I did talk to Barb Dorn about what I saw in their journal about their new offering with that.
Yeah, this must be relatively new, because I spoke with Barb Dorn about this a couple of months ago, and I don't remember her mentioning it, but, yeah, it sounds like a good
Call her
idea.
I'll reach out to her tomorrow.
Okay. I'll leave that to you then. Member Christensen?
I just want to reiterate, that this obviously is a very important hire, not only for our district, but for our entire community, parents, staff. So I think it's going to be really important that we can be transparent in our process, we can be objective. I think having a neutral third party kind of guiding us or making recommendations, is going to help us, just with confidence in the community that we're doing the right thing, we're doing it the right way. I mean, this is a huge hire, and we need to get it right. We need to have community buy-in. We need to have people feel confident in our decisions and in the process. So community members can say, oh, I know how they got to that process. It wasn't just board members looking at the applications in the back conference room or something. This is an open process, and transparent and led by a professional. Again, these folks do this for a living, that's what they do. I think Gail and Julie are the only ones here that have been a part of this before. I certainly wouldn't claim to be any expert on the do's and don'ts and the legal things that we need to be aware of, so I think we need to do it right.
And that is a good point. Until we select finalists, confidentiality and privacy are of the utmost importance. So
And I think, well, the old process that I've been through is that MSBA, they went through them, and then they looked through all the applications, they did all the due diligence by researching, looking at different, they did all the legal work.
They're
behind
vetting
this.
the licensing.
They vetted them,
Yeah, right.
and then they kind of got us down to a smaller pool than then we could look at. So it kind of gets rid of, like, the ones that don't really qualify to the right candidates. And we got down to the 4 or 5 that they recommended, and then we interviewed from there. So it just helps us know that they're vetted.
Properly vetted.
Yeah, properly vetted.
And I think, Member Castle, you brought up a good point of how we need to, they work on what board members are looking for, what are your interests, what do you see as a strength for the next superintendent, so.
Yeah, Member Castle?
So I would assume that once any needed redactions from the documentation that they have provided, then we will be able to view these.
That was actually what I was going to suggest. I was thinking when Member Corcoran was talking there, and I do agree with her. We want to make sure that we have confidentiality in this process and privacy, because as somebody who works as a senior executive and goes through a recruiting process, I do understand that once your name is out there, that can't be undone. So we have to be very careful about that. And in the state of Minnesota, the superintendents are confidential until they're selected as a finalist and they can come before the board. So there's a very clear delineation upon when that happens. So I also agree with Member Tyson that we should absolutely review the applicants that we have, and we should look at them. But I know I've made the recommendation in the past that if we were going to do that, maybe we redact names and locations from the resumes prior to disseminating them out to any of the board members, so that we don't necessarily know the who or the where, and we can't put that together. But we can at least see the qualifications. We can see if there's people that we're interested in and people that meet those requirements while we're reviewing the documentation that Member Corcoran brought us from MSBA and deciding kind of what we want to do next.
Yeah, and I just think that it might be best practice to see what Barb Dorn says in terms of doing redactions, because I don't remember that the last time.
So are we comfortable waiting another, waiting another couple of weeks?
Just get this going.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
And just to follow up, did we contact the people that we've had these resumes sitting for so long? Have they been contacted and known that we got stalled, but we're revisiting things?
We did that shortly after Member Hagelin resigned.
We did do that.
I'm trying to remember if we did that again in December, but I know we've at least followed up with them once and said we had a change in the board, and we were going to hit the pause button for a little while, so they've been notified at least once. We could always ask administration to ping them again and let them know that we're still in the decision-making process here. We are not ignoring them.
That's a good idea, out of respect to their work,
Starting
and their
the
resume
review.
and all of that.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just throw that by a unanimous consent. Without objection, we'll direct administration to reach out to the candidates that have applied and just let them know that we're still working through the process and that they're not being ignored.
And point of clarification, that
Yes.
would be Director Friedman, not myself.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah, the appropriate staff and administration, we'll put it that way. And I'll also commit to working with Director Friedman to make sure that she has the names of the individuals that have directly applied to me, so I'm not reaching out to them. I think it's better if it's a uniform system and it goes through human resources. So is there anything else we want to talk about on that topic?
Oh, on that topic, no, I think it's probably a good idea to just get this going.
Do we need a motion? What are we doing?
No, we just made the directive via unanimous consent,
reach out to
since there was no objection.
And Member Corcoran, will
I'll
you
update
follow
you
us up?
guys.
I mean,
Yep.
just because
I'll send an email after I talk to Barb
thank
about
you.
doing, especially the what Gail had mentioned
Yeah.
regarding the, just kind of a startup
See if
process.
there's
and-
just a.
Yeah.
And can we also clarify then that no one is looking at the applications? We're not
Correct,
doing
nobody's
that.
looking
So
at
we're not
that.
doing anything.
Wait for her tutorial.
We're waiting
or-
we're waiting, just to clarify, we are waiting for direction from MSBA.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
That's what we're doing.
definitely.
And I guess I will throw one more question out there to the board. If we do find that MSBA is available by some miracle to present on the 22nd, would we like that scheduled?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, in that case,
Yes. I will
I'll
talk
do
to
it
her.
via unanimous consent again. Without objection, the board will direct the chair and the vice chair to schedule that virtual session with MSBA if it's available on the 22nd. All right, I don't have an objection to that, so myself and Member Corcoran will schedule that and get it on the agenda should that be a possibility.
Yeah, and if not, and they suggest some sort of virtual thing, give us some options for that too.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
So we'll do that and we'll throw it on the agenda in a couple of weeks now that we've got the board's authorization to do that. Just so we don't slow things down. I would hate to say, hate to find out tomorrow morning that we can and then we can't until February.
And a special meeting of the board would be in order.
Yeah,
Of
good.
course, yeah. Yeah, we could do that too.
Well, looking at the timeline, if you saw in there, like, we're behind already.
Yeah,
we are.
So I just got to make sure we really
Yeah.
get moving.
Yeah, yep. Let's get to it.
And
Member
we'll see her at
Castle.
MSBA too.
Yeah.
So, and the first viewing of these will be candidate A, candidate B, candidate C without,
Potentially,
We'll
right?
see.
Yeah, right now
Depends
we
what
don't,
Barb-
yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have a directive on that.
Yeah.
I will make one other note, and this is, take this as benign, because I do not have the authority to make a motion to reconsider, but hiring a superintendent does require public notification. We do not have an official designated school paper, or newspaper, so we cannot make any public notifications. I do not know if administration has any public notifications that need to occur over the next 2 weeks, but those will be hindered as well. I only mention that because it's germane to this discussion right now. Is there any other discussion on the superintendent search?
Nope.
All right, seeing none, that brings us to reviewing upcoming calendar dates. Our next board meeting is January 22nd. There's quite a few other activities listed there. And if there is nothing else.
point of inquiry?
Yes.
Okay, even though there are not school board committee assignments, the committees still exist and they will still meet.
And I was gonna ask on that too.
They still exist.
And there's just nobody assigned to those committees except for automatically the finance committee has an assignment.
Per policy, the finance committee does have the board treasurer assigned to that. So yes, I guess you would be correct that you are the only one with a current committee assignment.
So then the members currently would be able to attend any of the committees,
Let me look.
would be my, I would surmise.
We did schedule committee meetings and school board meetings on the third Thursday of each month, beginning at 5 p.m. So I think you would be correct, Member Castle, in stating that the committee meetings could still occur. There's no official board member assignment for those committee meetings short of your finance committee. The rules for quorum would still exist. So we would have to make sure that there were no more than 3 members at any committee. And technically speaking, the board members would not be members of those committees, so they would be unable to participate in the committee. They would be simply there to observe.
Okay.
With, of course, the exception of Member Castle being named the treasurer would have the ability to participate in the finance committee. Okay, do we have anything else, or do we want to? entertain
I
a
would
motion
like
adjourn?
to reconsider 9.12 to discuss the official school newspaper.
Okay, we have a motion to reconsider item 9.12. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to reconsider 9.12 as presented. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I think that the chair, he made his points about the Pioneer Press, to which many of us made points regarding the Forest Lake Times. And I think that that we should stay with the Forest Lake Times. And in order to get ourselves a designated official school newspaper, so we can put in public notices that we might need to do, I would move or amend the motion or move or whatever to go with the Forest Lake Times.
Second? Second.
We have a motion and a second to amend 9.12 to designate the official school newspaper as the Forest Lake Times in accordance with the quote that was provided to board members earlier. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Okay.
Okay. That brings us back to the motion, or the item as presented. Is there any discussion on that?
So just to be clear, for the record, you would rather have no designated school paper, designated official school newspaper than to not even give in, but to just be able to discuss a different option, so.
As for myself, I would rather change it to the St. Paul Pioneer Press.
And myself.
And and that's what was originally proposed, and the first vote around is exactly what you're now basically accusing other people of doing, so.
Okay.
I mean, it's just,
That's fine.
it's,
Member Tyson.
Well, I think it's not going to sit well with our community. I'm just wanting to reiterate that. If you're going to put a local notice about our school district superintendent, it should go in a local paper. That's covered us for years and years and years. So I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I feel like I'm being pragmatic here. And so it doesn't make sense to switch to the Pioneer Press.
well,
Is there any other discussion?
And we were
on the,
blindsided.
Any other discussion on the amendment? Or on the motion? Member Castle.
So the papers that I've seen people have are typically the Pioneer Press. It seems to have more viewership than the ForestAke Times.
I would like to see.
That's just a personal
the-
observation.
But our local residents.
Yeah. Well, and I hate to say it, but I feel like this decision might be a little vindictive. We were just recently in the Forest Lake Times, and they gave the top 10 stories in 2025.
Member Christensen, that
And
is-
number 1 is school
Member
board
Christensen, that
controversies. And
is
so I
not-
can't help but wonder if
that
that
is
has
not-
something to do
That is not
with
germane to the
changing to the
discussion on
Pioneer Press.
approval of the Pioneer Press. I'm sorry.
Very heavy
I would
handed.
disagree. I think it is germane.
And no
Member
one in
Castle.
our community is going to be happy.
Any of those stories do not apply to what this is.
Thank you.
These
I
are the
completely understand
official
that. I feel like the
notices.
decision is very vindictive against the Forest Lake Times and the reporting that they have done on the school board. This is a vindictive decision. I understand fully that they can still cover us. I
Member
understand.
Christensen, that is out of order. You are making ethical accusations that are out of order. Is there any other discussion on the motion?
I do have a question about, if we have a legal notice, what are we going to do? I mean,
I do believe there's provision,
we're just
Not
not
ours.
going to have, don't we have to post
Isn't
that?
it all of our?
I do believe,
We're
I'd
all
have
on
to
the same
double check.
board.
Yeah.
Are we? Okay.
Well, I would like this administration to let us know what happens when we don't have a newspaper. Can you let us know?
I'll
Dr.
research the
Massey?
statute and
Okay.
update the board on provisions for public notification of school board meetings
Okay.
without an official paper. I think there might be a provision that
I
would
think there
permit
is.
Okay.
posting on our board out here and on our website.
That's
Okay.
actually an interesting question because the meetings, we have no official board meetings scheduled for the rest of this year. We've only approved them through the,
Oh.
yeah, so we need to,
Mm.
I believe we do need a qualified paper.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
I was trying to review this. It's State Statute 331A, .01.
We did approve board meetings through this,
Did we through the school year?
Yes.
Are we good through the school year?
correct?
Through June?
Board meetings through June.
You may have to-
Okay, good. Okay, good, good.
30 days to post minutes.
Right.
Okay, so we have to do post minutes within 30 days. 30 days of
They made the
approval,
mess, they
correct?
can clean it up.
30 days of the meeting.
Of the
They're
meeting?
gonna have people
So-
so mad.
Within the official paper or on our board book?
I believe it's in the official paper, but I would have to double check that.
Yeah, we need to do some research on
Thank you,
that.
Joy.
So how would that work, Joy? Because we have board minutes from the December 3rd and December 4th that we did not approve until just a few hours ago.
They go in the paper as unapproved
I see.
revised
Okay.
minutes.
Okay. And then, so the next one that we would have would be 12/10 unless you've already,
Tonight's is the only one that has not been published yet.
oh, see, I see. Okay, okay. So we really do have 30 days. Do
Yep.
we anticipate any other official notices that might need to?
The business department often has bids and things that have to be posted, so
Okay.
they may.
So maybe, okay. So it would be good to settle this now if we can. Okay. All right, thank you, Joy. All right, do we have any other discussion on designating the official school paper?
Can you review exactly what we're voting on, please?
Yeah, the vote is to accept the bid as presented in the board packet to designate the official school newspaper.
As,
The St. Paul Pioneer Press. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
no.
No.
All right, that fails. Which brings us back to adjournment. I would entertain a motion
So
to
moved.
adjourn.
Second?
Motion and second, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.